Hello and welcome to part 2 of the racing here on Sunday at Clay Pigeon Raceway. We have just had some brilliant action in the morning and we've had some more rain over the lunch break. So we are in for some exciting action this afternoon. I am joined by Lewis Ray in the commentary box. Hello, Lewis.
Hello, Dylan. And yeah, it's rained during the lunch break, and just before lunch the track was just starting to dry out, and it was almost at the point where you could maybe take a gamble and slick tyres and maybe 1 or 2 races after, but then the rain came down, the heavens opened, and now we're left with what is a half and half track. So it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen. We have 14 races lined up in this afternoon's programme, so plenty of action to come, and I'm sure we'll see plenty of great races.
Yeah, as we wait for our mini F1 sidecars to go out to the grid to start their second race of the weekend. We had an absolutely epic race yesterday, didn't we? With a great battle between the Keats and the Green Streets, with Mick Williams not being able to challenge for the lead, which is something that we haven't seen a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something that we've not seen in such a long time. The win streak is over. Mick Williams got the 3rd place, and I don't know how happy we'll be with that, to be honest. And now conditions are at the point where we cannot predict what is going to happen in the mini F1 sidecar race. If Mick Williams will be able to win this race, even though it's still somewhat wet, or if the Keats and the Green Streets will be up there again because they love these conditions.
Yeah, no, exactly. The Green Streets were mentioning that they did a great job yesterday purely because of their updated sidecar design and not letting the water into their internals, which is very different to the design we see on Mick Williams' Red Bull sponsored sidecar. So as they're lining up on the grid now, ready to go out onto the formation lap, we have the Green Streets alongside Mick Williams in the 1st and 2nd slots.
Yeah, the Mick Williams and the Green Streets will line the front row of the grid for the mini F1 sidecar race, with Keats and Vince Bailey on the 2nd row, just behind them in 3rd and 4th. Mark Parker will line up 5th on the grid, with John Hosker in 6th, and rounding off the short but sweet mini F1 sidecar grid will be Chris Impey in 7th place. So not too many outfits that we have here, but as we've seen yesterday, they produced some great racing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As we see the Keats already having a look at the Green Streets on the warm-up lap. The weather seems to be a little bit drier today than it was yesterday, so can Mick Williams run away with this race, or can the Green Streets launch and move up into the inside, since as we know they are capable of doing it like we saw yesterday?
Yeah, they certainly are. And one thing that we know is that the Green Streets know how to start an outfit. I mean, off the line they are amazing, and Mick Williams, they're going to have to try something new. I think this race, it's still a bit wet, and they are on a 2-stroke motorcycle, so it's very easy to spin up that rear and just cannot get the power down to the ground, while the Green Streets and Keats are on the 4 strokes. It's much more manageable and much less emphasis on the power band, so you can so you can go to lower revs. But now we are waiting on the starting grid, we're waiting for the start marshal to say that everything's good and we're ready to start this race. So we're just waiting as the sun is appeared out here at Clay Pigeon. She points to the lights, we wait for the lights to come on, lights are on and lights are off, and we are racing for race 2 of the sidecars, and it is Mick Williams who makes the best start. They lead into turn 1, but straight behind them is the Green Streets as Keats tries to go around the outside, but it looks like they ended up off the track trying to make that move. So not what they would have wanted, but now it is time to get the pedal down. Do not let Mick Williams run away and try to do what they did yesterday.
Yeah, no, exactly the start that Mick Williams would have wanted as they come into the hairpin for the first time. The Keats all over the back of the Green Streets, so the Green Streets don't quite have the momentum that they had in yesterday's race, as we have a battle brewing for second here. Can Mick Williams start to break away, or will the puddles on track prove to be a problem as we have a battle further back?
Yeah, we certainly do, and there's some battles all the way down the field right now in the sidecar race. I believe that is Chris Impey just trying to make their way through the field, but Mick Williams leads the way. It's something that we've said many times, but what can the Green Streets do? Can they get two out of 2 race wins so far this weekend? If they can just get their pedal down, you'll twist the throttle as hard as they can and get the times in. These times at start race are so important because the track will evolve and it'll become dry, which is more likely to suit Mick Williams, which puts a 52.2 in this first lap, and currently has a 1.5 second lead. So Mick Williams out front, but what will Keats or Green Streets do, and will we see a battle from the Green Streets and Keats?
Yeah, no, the Green Streets are still sticking within that 2-second margin of Mick Williams, who is out in front. The Keats had a brilliant run on the Green Streets not long ago, and they've spun, and the Keats have spun in that 666 machine. They're going to be at the back of the pack. What can they do to make their way through and get their sidecar going again? We'll have to wait and see. Mick Williams seems to have control out front, followed by Jason Greenstreet and Vince Bailey now up into P3.
Yeah, it's one helpful thing about having a passenger on the sidecar is the fact that if they spin, the engine will cut off, and then they have someone there to get bump started while the driver really just tries and gets the bike restarted and just tries to get the engine running again. But it's McWilliams who sets the fastest lap of the race with 51.1, 1.7 seconds faster than the Greenstreets that time round. They have their outfits singing and dancing this time. It's what we expect to see from them. But as we see though, John Hosker trying to go round the outside of Chris Impey, but they cannot make it work. John Hosker found the fairing out of a bin and it was covered in moss and all sort of dirt and grit, and they're racing with it. They stuck a bit of white duct tape and wrote 127 on it, and now they are battling for what will be 4th place, and Vince Bailey's just ahead of them in 3rd. So can John Hosker in that old looking sidecar, shall we say, and second hand looking sidecar get a podium? Yeah, you can see the bodywork of John Hosker's sidecar bouncing all over the shop as they go round Blind Billy's. With 4 laps to go in this race, can they mount a move into turn 1? Not quite, but there are puddles everywhere. There are constantly riders making mistakes as they come round to the S's. Can anyone force a move here? Chris Impey going a little bit deep with John Hosker losing the rear end there. That was pretty spectacular as we see gaps starting to open out across the field, but still a great fight for 3rd place. Yes, certainly is, and it's something that at this track, it's not unusual to see for these sidecars. It's just battles everywhere. McWilliams though, they've not got a battle in their hand right now because it's a 1.6 second lead that they have, but Greenstreets, they will not let this go. They'll be trying the hardest. As we see Chris Impey giving a little wave to the crowd as they go past through the back section of the track, but there is the Greenstreets. They are hot on McWilliams' tail. They're doing almost identical lap times, 50 thousandths of a second separating them, as Chris Impey is hard with a battle with John Hosker. John Hosker always ends up on the grass there while trying to get past them, making sure Chris Impey is making sure that their life is getting made very, very difficult with just 3 laps to go. Yeah, for sure. Despite that underdeveloped sidecar, they do have an abundance of pace, a surplus. Can they use it to get past Chris Impey as they go down to the hairpin? They had a bit of a moment through the S's which lost a bit of momentum as they come through one of the wetter sections of the track now. You can still see that fairing bouncing around. It's phenomenal that they've got this kind of pace. Can they challenge Chris Impey? Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see, but McWilliams right now is 1.7 seconds ahead. As I said at the start of the race, they're on a 2-stroke motor, so whenever they were trying to get in the power yesterday, as soon as it would kick into the power band, it would just spin up the rear wheel and they could get no power to the ground, which just allowed Greenstreets just to get ahead of them. But Greenstreets 9/10 of a second behind now, 9/10 of a second. They were 6/10 of a second faster than McWilliams that lap, so 2 laps to go. Can the Greenstreets do anything? Yeah, I was about to mention the Greenstreets look to have some pace over Mick Williams as Mick Williams slides into the hairpin. The Greenstreets look far more controlled. They have a more balanced sidecar by the looks of it in these conditions. As Mick Williams runs wide, the Greenstreets have a much tighter line through there. As this is John Hosker looking for a move on Chris Impey into the hairpin. They make contact, but doesn't quite find a way through. Yeah, there's no way through. It's so difficult to overtake on solo motorcycles around here. Never mind sidecars. These outfits are quite wide around this tight and twisted track, and all you really need to do is just defend your line, and there's nothing the bike behind can do. So it's just a real wait of waiting for the other person to slip up. But McWilliams, they've not slipped up so far this race. 9/10 of a second gap going on to the last lap, but will Chris Impey be able to hold on to this 4th place? Yeah, that remains to be seen. As I just want to mention, Jason Greenstreet was just 1,000 quicker than Mick Williams last time round, which goes to show how even these sidecars are. But the Greenstreets have certainly kept these guys company, but it looks like Mick Williams will get round the final sector of this lap to bring home another win for the outfit this season. Coming into the final section, we see a battle between Chris Impey and John Hosker heating up into the hairpin, but it doesn't look like Hosker could do it as Mick Williams comes round the final corner now, comes onto the start finish straight to round Blind Billy's for the last time and win the Smitty F1 sidecar race 2. Yeah, it was a great result from McWilliams and setting the fastest lap of the race with 50.9. But this battle for 4th place is not over yet. Chris Impey is trying absolutely everything, but John Hosker goes round the outside, tries to take as much corner speed as possible, but cannot make it work. Across the line they go. There was nothing separating them. 2/10 of a second over the line. close Sidecar racing once again, and really just putting on a show for everyone out there and showing something that is completely different.
Yeah, no, the Green Streaks can certainly be happy with that. Bridging the gap to Mick Williams, showing that they do have the pace to challenge for the lead, especially with yesterday as well. Another fantastic mini F1 sidecar race here at Clay Pigeon. What a race that was.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it's something that is great to see the sidecars becoming more and more competitive, because Mick Williams, everyone thought at the start of the season they would almost win every single race in pure domination. It was getting to the point where they were winning by 5 or 6 seconds every single race, which now is not the case, especially in these mixed conditions that we have here at Clay Pigeon. So the real question is going to be, what is the story going to be in race 3? Of course, they still have one more race to go.
Yeah, no, and it looks like the weather's going to be looking a little bit better this afternoon. So the top 7, we have Mick Williams from Jason Greenstreet, from Vince Bailey, Chris Impey in 4th with John Hosker hot on his tail, Mark Parker in P6, and Jacob Keats not having the best race back in 7th. They must have had a problem, Lewis.
Yeah, they may have, but obviously Keats did have that spin, and then they had to get the bike restarted, so they lost a lot of time doing that. But of course, a 7th place, I mean, it's still points because there's not too many sidecars here, but it's still, we're doing consistent lap times towards the end. But next up, we're also going to have big riders with little bikes, and that will be the senior minimotos.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, as you can see on your screen, the senior minimotos are making their way onto the dummy grid before we head out for the warm-up laps. And these riders, well, yesterday, I think it's fair to say it was a highly eventful race.
Yeah, no, we had contact between the Birkin brothers, but then we had a red flag which completely reset the grid. We had riders off left, right and centre yesterday in the first half of that race, and the race had to be completely restarted due to how many riders we had on the floor and how much rain we actually had out on track.
Yeah, definitely drier today, and the riders are just waiting to get going for their warm-up laps, and they're going to have one warm-up lap before the lights go out and they all steam down towards the first corner. It's quite a hefty grid here for the senior minimotos. It's so great actually to see so many adults wanted to take part in this series, and even after yesterday when it's been so wet, some riders obviously don't like racing in the rain. They are all here, and they're all here ready to race.
Yeah, so our starting grid, we have Will Howarth in P1 with a 42.968 in qualifying, followed by Craig Ashwell in P2, Josh Birkin in P3 with his brother Matt Birkin in P4, Nick Bennett in P5 with Chris Yeomans in P6, Reece Gentry in P7 with Callum White in P8, Elliot Searle in P9 with Ross Michael in P10, Alberto Venteo in P11 with Shannon King in P12, we have Lamar Morgan in P13 with Duncan Diper in P14, David Mayat is in 15th with Jerome Richards in 16th, and we have Rob Gentry in P17 with Paul Bayliss in 18th, as we have had a crash out on the track.
Yeah, there's already been a fall in this race, and it's something that, well, it's quite unusual to see, but that's Nick Bennett on the floor with another rider at the hairpin, so drama already on the warm-up laps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is something we saw a lot yesterday in the wetter conditions, but where the track's drying out a bit more, it's a little bit difficult to give them an excuse for that. We do have damp patches all around the track, we do have puddles, we have another rider down in the second sector, so we're going to have to wait and see if the start will be delayed to allow the riders to get back to the back of the grid.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see, give all riders a chance to start in the race, because of course these bikes, you can't just pick them up, get them pull started again and get going, but we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen with the start. I don't think it'll be too much of a delay, if any, as the final couple of riders make their way to the grid and line themselves up on their grid positions as tension rises, as Nick Bennett, who had that faulty hairpin, lines up in his grid slot.
Yeah, no, you can see the road surface in your picture there. It's very obvious to see the damper patches and the drier patches of the track, so the riders on the drier patches should get a bit of a benefit with some better traction. So here we go, we are waiting for the marshal to point towards the lights to get this senior minimoto race underway. The lights have been pointed to, the lights are about to come on, the lights are on, and the lights are off, and that's a poor start from Craig Ashwell as Will Howarth breaks into the lead. The Birkin brothers filling out the second and third spots. Is that a dive from Matt Birkin into the lead? It is. Matt Birkin takes the lead into turn one. His brother back past Will Howarth, as Will Howarth, he falls back into third place, so not the turn one that he needed. Perhaps took it too cautiously. And we are battling in the background as well through the S's as we go down to the hairpin for the first time. Matt Birkin with a fantastic start, followed by his brother Josh Birkin with Will Howarth in third, and we have a crash on track. That looks like a big one.
Yeah, quite a big crash. The visors came off the helmet, so I don't know if they're going to be able to get back going this race. Now, it doesn't look like it. but we're just going to have to wait and see. Craig Ashall, you just seen it off the start, but I believe that is Josh Birkin actually in the lead right now. It's so difficult to tell with the two Birkin brothers because they do occasionally change levers as we hit across the timing beam for the first time. And yes, it's Josh Birkin who leads the way from his brother Matt, but Craig Ashall, you've seen it from the start. You've seen the lights go off and you just sat there for about half a second before he started actually getting the move on and going. So Craig Ashall has dropped tremendously in that first lap, and well, he's not even came across the line yet.
No, not the start he would have wanted at all, but we have a fight brewing for the lead here between the Birkin brothers, and that is the number 44 of Alberto Venteo. He is off the track, not what he wanted to see at all. It looks like he has a problem. Has he crashed that, however? We shall soon see as we return to the fight for the lead between Josh and Matt Birkin as they come to the final corner. 8 laps to go.
Yeah, 8 laps to go in this race. It goes past so quick in the senior minimoto. There's action all the way through, but Craig Ashall is not the start that he wanted. Craig Ashall still came out the line, came across the line, but Craig Ashall, I believe, has pulled it into the pits, but Alberto Venteo is still trying to get a motorcycle going again. We've seen it yesterday with Alberto Venteo with his motorcycle, and he had 2 crashes and 2 problems in one race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. His back marker's already playing a role in this race. Josh Birkin seems to have built a bit of a gap to his brother due to the back markers, but his brother looks like he has the confidence to race back up to the rear end of his brother so they can have a little tussle on this track with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, 7 laps to go in this race. Josh Birkin leads the way, but it's not too much of a gap as there's another rider rejoining back onto the circuit. These conditions proving so treacherous for these riders as Josh Birkin has a little look and sees that Matt is right behind him now. There's barely anything between them. 6 laps to go in this race. It was a 0.186 of a second across the line.
Yeah, no, Matt Birkin not quite as confident as his brother through the kink, but as they come through the S's now, can he set up a move into the hairpin as he ducks into the slipstream? He doesn't seem close enough this time round, but this is the part of the track that we have seen Matt Birkin quicker at than his brother at all weekend. Is he going to launch a move? No, they collided here yesterday. Will they collide here today? They are not quite close enough yet.
Yeah, one person who we haven't mentioned yet is Reece Gentry. He's currently in 3rd place. Great result for him so far. It's a father-son duo actually, because Rob Gentry should also be racing in this race, but he's not out this time around, so it's great to see more families get involved in Fab. As talking about families, both of the Birkin brothers set the fast lap of the race, but Matt slightly faster over the line, 46.093, and it's so close racing. And now we see Reece Gentry under extreme pressure from Callum White.
Yeah, no, there's been a yellow flag in Sector 2 as well, as there is a bike off on the entry to the hairpin as they go through our shot now. This is tight. This is where they were yesterday when they collided in the first race. Not going to happen again as we had another rider off. Is that Venteo again?
Yes, it's a Venteo again. He's just struggling with that bike all weekend.
Oh.
And there's a rider
Callum
down.
White.
Callum White down at the hairpin, runs to grab his bike that's currently porched on the tyre wall, and now he's just trying to get a pull started. But 4 laps to go in this race as we come across the line.
Yeah, still, Lewis, Matt Birkin still doesn't quite have the commitment through blind billies that his brother has. Always losing time into turn 1, but he's always on the back of him now as they go into the S's. Still not quite close enough to mount a challenge into the hairpin as we watch the number 85 of Chris Yeomans trying to allow traffic to go through, I believe, as we have Josh and Matt Birkin now coming through our shot into the horseshoe.
Yeah, coming through the horseshoe right now. You could just see Josh Birkin. He looked pretty relaxed. He wasn't defensive through there at all. He was a far wider sweeping line compared to Matt. So it just shows Josh is not fazed by this. He's been in this situation many times with Matt. He just has a little look, sees that Matt is right to this tail. Now Matt is going to look to try and line up a move into turn 1, but Matt, he knows it's so difficult to try and do that. So Josh closes off the door. He takes quite a wide line midway for the corner to get a late apex, and now Matt is trying to find any way past, trying to line up any type of move. But there's Nick Bennett, who fell off on the warm-up lap, is right on Reece Gentry's tail.
As we watch the leaders coming up to lap traffic now again. Is that... Yeah, here we are. These are the Birkin brothers still fighting through the horseshoe. We have a ride off over there, but into the horseshoe they go now. Matt Birkin continually gets a better exit out of the final corner, but again, as I said, he doesn't quite have the commitment through the kink that we see with his brother. So here he is, all over the back of him. Is he going to get a better exit like he normally does? Yes, he is. Tight to line on the exit. Will he commit through this corner as they're side by side round blind billies? Will he keep the throttle pin? No, he's going to lift off again and submit to his younger brother.
Yeah, Josh Birkin still just doing absolutely everything he can to keep Matt behind, but the question is, with just 2 laps to go, how long will this last until Matt makes some kind of move? We know that these brothers are not afraid of making moves like each other. Although they're brothers off track, on track they're ruthless. They leave each other no room at all, and the shoulders are really out and elbows are out. Bars are bashing. This is really hard but fair racing, and Will Howarth actually is up to 9th place. Not the race that he would have wanted at all, but Josh Perkins gets slightly held up there by the back marker.
Yeah, as they come onto the final lap now, back markers are going to play a crucial role as Nick Bennett is taking the lead from, taking 3rd place from Nick Gentry. This is the Birkin brothers side by side going round. Blind Billy's, there's a back marker there as well, but that's Josh Birkin on the inside for the next corner. Matt Birkin's got the lead. Matt Birkin's got the lead after his brother got stuck in traffic, had to lift off. So that's 1 lap to go. We're on the final lap of this race, and Matt Birkin has taken the lead from his brother. Will Josh Birkin be able to find anything really special here to regain that ground and challenge him into the final sector? It remains to be seen as they come round the hairpin for the final time. Matt Birkin looks as if he's going to come across the line to win this race, but there is still traffic to be lapped. There are still back markers who can play a role in this race as Matt Birkin comes round the final corner now. He just needs to do this sensibly, nothing silly, as he hits the wetter patches, the damper patches, but comes onto the start finish straight to win the mini GP, the
senior minimoto class, and Matt Birkin set the fastest lap of the race that time round for 45.4. Josh has got slightly held up by traffic. Shannon King at the first corner, there was nothing more she could have done. She got out their way going in through the left kink, but there is your 3rd place. Reese Gentry manages to win that battle against Nick Bennett on that final lap. The 3rd place battle was just rolling on, and yeah, once again we've seen it in the senior minimoto class. Battles everywhere in the field, and it's great to see so many older and riders from all different ages taking part in the series.
Yeah, no, exactly. Lapped traffic also playing an incredible role. Got a bit flustered. I didn't expect that much action on the final lap of the race. So we have our top 10 of Matt Birkin, from Josh Birkin, from Reese Gentry, from Nick Bennett, Duncan Diper in 5th, Lamar Morgan in 6th, Shannon King in 7th, Callum White in 8th, Jerome Richards in 9th, with David Myatt in 10th.
Yeah, great race, and full of drama, full of close racing. There was action all the way through in there as the riders that break down there as we wait for some riders to make it back to the pits. Currently we're just watching the riders get the bike, well, try and get the bike started, but what a great race that was. And of course there's still a race free to go later on today, so please stay with us. We still have 12 tremendous races coming up, and all for you live and free on the FAB-Racing YouTube channel and the Motorsport Radio channel. And there's a rider down on the cool down lap,
being tilted,
still pushing on. And I believe that was David Myatt actually that had the little tip off there.
Yeah, no, Matt Birkin rode past him, taunting him, we saw through our picture there. But as you said, what a fantastic race, and that's another full there for David Myatt. That bike must have no stability whatsoever.
Yeah, David Myatt, a high side there for the horseshoe, so he's not managed to get round another corner on the cooldown lap without falling off, so hopefully he can get round this final corner and just stay on the bike. You can see how careful he's being now. He just doesn't want to do that again, because that's slightly embarrassing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What a race we've had in the senior minimoto. Another race coming up later on. Welcome to the starting grid for the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. We've had some brilliant action out on track this weekend so far, with a brilliant race this morning. What can this provide, Lewis? Yeah,
it can provide absolutely everything. We've seen yesterday, it was a dominant performance from Henry McCartney, but will we see the same again? It was such a close race midfield, but Henry McCartney just dominated them. We see Ronnie Harris crashing out, but still ended up on the podium by picking up his bike and just getting on with it. It is such great racing. These are the talents that feature, really. This is the last step of their FAB-Racing careers.
Yeah, this is certainly considered the main event here at FAB-Racing. As we see them lining up on the grid, we have a very damp track still, but it has dried out a lot as the day has progressed, as bikes have gone around the track, and we also have a lot of blue sky coming out, so we should have some pretty good weather as they go onto their formation lap.
Yeah, we certainly will, and that's them just head out on their formation lap and get ready to go and get ready just to get set. But it will be Henry McCartney, yesterday's race winner, in such a dominant fashion, starting in pole position with Samuel Munson alongside him. Made a bad start yesterday, but he'll be trying to do better today, because it is a lot drier, so we may see completely different results. Ethan Sparks lines up in third with Mark Holt alongside him on the second row of the grid. Blake Wilson will be starting fifth with Ronnie Harris, who of course had that tip off and still managed to get a podium, starting sixth. Noah Gilray in seventh with Ollie Sims in eighth. Luke Fitchett, the Mini GP 50 race winner earlier today, ninth. And there's a rider down at the hairpin. Ruben Bray will be starting 10th, and Harry Payne 11th, and Hayden Whiteman, who we've just seen have that tip off at the hairpin, should hopefully be starting 12th.
Yeah, of course, we do have a bit of an incident at the hairpin that's currently being checked, so we may have a delayed start. The rider seems to be getting up at the moment as the grid is set for this exciting race. Yeah, we're just waiting for the riders to be set, and
checks to be done on Hayden Whiteman, check that he's okay, and hopefully we can get race started, because these are two strokes and these bikes hate running, and now it looks like they're trying to it looks like either Henry McCartney is wanting to shut off the engine or his engine's already stopped, because these bikes are two strokes and they hate overheating and they hate standstill. The only way these bikes keep cool is by moving, so we're just getting word that the race will be delayed.
Yeah, unfortunately due to an incident at the hairpin, which goes to show how tricky these track conditions are. If we have riders making a mistake on the warm-up lap, it is certain that these riders are going to have a challenge out there in the race. But bear in mind, this grid has been shaken up ever so slightly due to the tricky conditions within the qualifying session. So hello and welcome if you have just tuned in to the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 series for their second race this weekend.
Yeah, certainly, and we're expecting to be a great race. This is the Premier Class of FAB, but maybe some riders might just be trying to take a gamble for some slick tyres, and it's just catching them off guard. I mean, you can still see the track. There's quite a decent dry line for these riders, but there's damp patches and there's little puddles still surrounding the circuit, so you can hear through your earphones right now that all engines are switched off on the grid. There's no revving going on, otherwise these bikes will simply overheat and blow up, really, and no one wants that. So we're just waiting for the restart to get underway, and then we can get started for what should be an amazing race too. Yeah, no, we still have a rider down at the hairpin, so we'll keep you up to date with how that turns out. So if you just tuned in, hello and welcome to the Mini GP LS2 Helmets race this weekend. If you are watching, please let us know who you're supporting. Get in touch on our socials on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and all of the above, pretty much. So yeah, we're streaming on practically everything this weekend, so no matter where you are, you can watch FAB. You can watch at home on your TV screen, or you can watch it on the go. So no matter where you are, you have no excuse not to keep up with what is going to be some amazing races coming up. And we can see Henry McCartney actually is still using his white qualifying fairing, so I'm questioning maybe if he still thinks the track's too wet, that it's still too treacherous to wear his normal fairing. But you can see the tyres that they're using right now are wet, and you can see Samuel Munson in your picture there, number 72, had a bad start yesterday and really just fell down the order, but he is on wet tyres, so he is waiting for the race start. The good thing about them being on wet tyres is wet tyres, you can use them cold. You don't need tyre warmers in them. It's with the wet tyres, it's personal preference whether you would rather use tyre warmers or not. So some riders may never use tyre warmers anyway with the wets, and in these conditions with the track drying up, it will stop them from overheating if they're cooler. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we have a single rider out there on the slick tyres, which is something that I expected to see actually with a drier line coming around the track, but these bikes have probably been prepared quite a while ago. So all of the riders out there on wet tyres. We do have a mixed up grid because we had a dry and then wet qualifying session, so all the riders who went out early are higher up than the riders who went out towards the end of the session. Yeah, and there's pictures on the screen. He is up on his feet and Hayden Whiteman is up, and it's great to see. And yeah, it was not what you want, especially on the warm-up lap. The medic team, though, doing a great job even through the changeable conditions that we have here at Clay Pigeon, of course, across the 2 days. So yeah, Hayden Whiteman just walking back to the pits, looking a bit second hand, but he's up on his feet, and that is the most important thing. Yeah, no, that's what we like to see. We never like to see anyone too injured in these racing categories, but as you can see, the track surface does appear to be very dry with a few damp patches towards the sides of the track, so it's proven to be a challenge this weekend. Yeah, and there's Marco Holt. He had quite a big crash in the 70 race yesterday. You can see from his levers, actually, they have actually got quite a few marks on them. But I believe as well, Marco Holt, even if he did finish the race yesterday, he wouldn't have scored any points because he didn't have a transponder on his motorcycle. That is the rules. The only time that if your transponder isn't working and you have it on your motorcycle, your result will still be counted. But if it's not on your motorcycle, straight disqualification no matter what position you might finish in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Incredibly important for all of these riders out there as they await the start of this race. I'm assuming there's going to be another warm-up lap, and we shall wait to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, we will, and we see Ronnie Harris and Marco Holt having a little chat there, maybe just discussing one or two things before the race starts, or maybe just try and have a casual conversation. You can see some riders also on the grid with some officials. Rossi Bannon with his helmet on, having a conversation with Marco Holt's dad and some of the start marshals. So yeah, it's great to see so many people involved in this series and so many people discussing before the race starts. You can see all the parents, Henry McCartney's and Ronnie Harris's, and yeah, it's great to see so many, and Sarah Harris as well is there on the grid in that colourful top that has a minimoto training school, and she is the mother of Fraser Rogers, which of course is the British bike rider, and he also, I believe, has had a wild card in the Moto2 World Championship, and of course mother of Holly Harris, who we usually see racing in the senior mini moto. So it's great what that family is doing for the championship and for the up and coming riders, and it's great to see more people get involved and be able to help develop these young talents as the riders right now. Marco Holt has dropped his bike on the grid actually, and we see some help from Ronnie Harris and Samuel Munson just try and get the bike back. So yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's turning out to be an interesting race already, and we haven't even had the 3 red lights. So we are definitely in for a wicked LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 race round here at Clay Pigeon today.
Yeah, we certainly are. We're waiting for the bikes just to get restarted, and they should come back to the grid before we can get the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship Race 2 underway.
So yeah, I believe they have a 10-minute warning to change tyres if some of them want to fit the slicks on. You can see the dry line beginning to form around the track, but still some puddles at the top of your picture. So it's going to be an interesting race. As I said earlier on, these conditions can prove to be equally as challenging as full wet, because you have the confidence on the dry line, but if you're slightly off it and you hit a wet patch, especially on slicks, it's very, very difficult to keep the bike facing the right direction.
Yeah, you can see Rossi Panham showboating actually in the holding area, doing donuts in the holding area and getting some approval from Matthew Thomas, I believe that is as well. And yeah, it's great to see such a fun and friendly atmosphere that we have here at FAB, but I don't know what the riders will want to do with tyres, because as you said, Dylan, there is still plenty of wet patches out there, and there's plenty of white lines and paint out there that riders may have to go on during a race, which I personally wouldn't want to be touched on slick tyres.
Yeah, no, I can't see any more dark clouds, but there is a possibility that we could get some rain towards the end of this race as well. So it all remains to be seen. What will the weather do? Can it shake up the race? There has been a schedule chase, I'm being told.
Yeah, the pit bikes will be up next, and then it should be the Mini GP70. So it's not been confirmed just yet, but by the looks of the pictures right now, I would say that may be the case, because Rossi Banham, he's completely ready, and we see him talking on the grid to the start marshals and officials, so he would probably be one of the first people to know, and now he's sitting down there in the area, and I believe the pit bikes are just getting called down to the holding area, so we're just waiting as Rossi Banham wheelies in the holding area.
Yeah, no, definitely not what we were expecting here today, but yeah, we'll still have a good race on our hands, especially with these pit bikes. We always provide some great racing, especially since we have such a large grid. Yeah, we do. We have 21 bikes, I believe, with the introduction of Harvey Claridge today. So it's going to be a real interesting race that we should have, because the Pit Bike 140s, they're always a great show. No matter what track, no matter what conditions, there's always something highly entertaining with them. I mean, the last race yesterday, the race got cut short by 4 laps due to a red flag, because frankly, I think there was about 3 incidents at once, and yeah, it just became too much, and race control had to call a red flag. So conditions today for them,
a lot better, so now we'll get to see the true pace of some of the riders.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. I'm hoping you're not jinxing the weather, but as we see some of the minimoto riders in the pit lane having a bit of a laugh with one another, really highlighting how friendly this paddock is. It's absolutely fantastic to see, especially the fact that we had some of the riders helping out Marco Holt.
Yeah, certainly, and we see Lucas Brown also coming down to the holding area and getting talked to and told what to do by Matthew Thomas. Of course, Lucas Brown racing in the Talent Cup, and Matthew Thomas probably telling them something along the lines of go fast and win this race. And you know, Matthew Thomas, he's had some great results himself this weekend, and you know, hopefully he can take some advice off Matthew Thomas, and Lucas Brown can get a good result this race, because it'll be great to see another Talent Cup rider up there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we have had one hell of an action-packed weekend so far here at the Clay Pigeon Raceway in round 4 of the FAB-Racing series. So we are certainly in for another interesting race with these pit bike 140s.
Yeah, we certainly are, and this would have been the last race twos, but of course we still have the mini GP70s after this before we head into the last races of the weekend. So now it's just time of waiting for all the riders to make their way down, because it was quite a late call, so some riders may not even have their helmet on and may not have their levers zipped up. So we're just waiting for some of the riders to come up, because it's a 21 bike field, which is quite a lot. So that's them just heading out onto track now onto the dummy grid.
As you can see, Taylor Lawrence there in those bright green overalls there. He called himself Shrek yesterday. Let's see how he can do today.
So now they'll line up onto the grid for what will be race 2 of the Pit Bike 140s. Rossi Banham does a little stoppie into his grid position. We see Sullivan Mountsie talking to a few riders. Of course, Sullivan Mountsie doing great in the British Talent Cup right now. He came back at Donington Park and straight away was on the pace, and at Knockhill fighting for race victories, and was involved in an incident and damaged his hand quite bad, and I believe there's a few broken bones. So riders right now just waiting on the grid before we head off on the warm-up lap.
We are missing a rider in the second pit box. That is Ryan Tyers, and I believe he is absent from this race due to his massive high side out of the horseshoe yesterday. So for the grid, we have Rossi Banham in P1 with a 40.147 in qualifying, with Ryan Tyers missing out the race in P2. Lucas Brown in P3 with Ryan Hitchcock in P4. Reese Peacock in P5 with Stuart Hartman in P6. Taylor Lawrence takes P7 with Sean Whittaker in P8. Nathan Riggy in P9 with Bobby King in 10th. Liam Wood in 11th with Cameron Cornfield in 12th. Simon Gates in P13 with Aston Ballard in P14. Matthew Lindy in P15 with Max Perry in P16, Leo Caulfield in P17 with Chadley Whiting in P18, with Thomas Dutton in P19 with Zach Tureen in P20.
And of course we will have Harvey Clarge as well, starting in P21, as he's a Sunday rider and he didn't take part in qualifying, so he will have to start at the back of the grid. We see that in the Extreme 200s, so he made up time straight away, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do if he is headed out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. As they line up on the grid now, look how large this grid is. Always fantastic racing in these pit bike 140s. As we wait for the start marshal to point towards the red lights to get this race underway, just a couple of riders sitting in their grid boxes. Someone starting in the pits from the background there, I believe that is Claridge himself. So we are about to get underway for this pit bike 140 race, waiting for the start marshal to point up to the lights. But it seems like there is some sort of delay. I believe we are waiting for someone to arrive to the grid. A couple of people are still at the back. Claridge from the pits. As we wait for the marshal, we can hear them revving their engines. They are ready to get going. You can see the riders on the right side of the track have a damper line, so you should expect a better start from the riders on the inside as the red lights come on. And it's lights out and away we go. Good start from Rossi Banham here as he goes down towards turn 1. Clean start from everyone else. Taylor Lawrence in the background looking for a move as they all slot into their positions, going round to the S's for the first time. Rossi Banham cements the lead. Can he run away with it here as they go down to the hairpin for the first time? Gaggle of bikes here as we have such a large grid as that's a move for second place there. Moves into the hairpin all the way around the track.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Rossi Banham leads the way. It's something that we're used to seeing, but Lucas Brown right now is in second place. It's a great ride from Lucas Brown, of course, in the purple and black levers. As Harry Claridge is making up great ground already, but Rossi Banham has a little look behind him, sees that Lucas Brown's there. Lucas Brown and Rossi Banham get along pretty well. They're both in the British Championship. Lucas Brown dives into the race, and there's a rider down going through the left king, but he's up on his feet now, so that's great to see. Maybe just a bit winded because that is quite a fast place to crash, but Rossi Banham's back into the lead of the race, and Lucas Brown is sitting there in second. But do not forget about Ryan Hitchcock right now.
Yeah, no, Rossi Banham doesn't seem to be on our timing towers. Does he have his transponder fitted in? Because it is currently telling us that Lucas Brown is in the lead from Ryan Hitchcock. So we'll have to see on that one as Ryan Hitchcock's having a look at Lucas Brown around the final corner. Is Brown going to try and mount a charge to head towards Rossi Banham, as that's a move from Ryan Hitchcock into what our timing screen says the lead? But no, it's Lucas Brown back on the inside to defend it.
Yeah, Rossi Banham, he's leading the race right now, and he's on it. You can just see how dry the track is now. They're just throwing the bike about, placing it underneath, and you can just see the pure commitment that they have. Lucas Brown diving down the inside there at the hairpin. He was backing it in, but now Taylor Lawrence has joined the party in the bright green levers, setting the fastest lap of the race last time round with a 40.723. It's a 4-rider train for the race lead. What is going to happen? Who's going to know? Because there's still 10 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the fight that we've been waiting to see all weekend between these top four, as that looks like Taylor Lawrence having a look. No, it's Ryan Hitchcock having a look at Rossi Banham down into turn one. Not quite. Rossi Banham still all over the back of Lucas Brown as they go into the S's for the second time this race. Nothing to separate these three. Ryan Hitchcock all over the back of Rossi Banham. Can he make a move down into the hairpin, or is Rossi Banham going to launch one on? No, not quite. He's going to go defensive though and defend his position from Ryan Hitchcock.
Yeah, Rossi Banham right now is just trying to defend and attack at the same time. It's such a complicated thing to do. But Taylor Lawrence right now in the first corner, he made a slight mistake. He tried to make a move, and then he got the door shut on him from Ryan Hitchcock, so it forced him to back out. They lost so much drive, so he's dropped all the way down to fourth place, and there's quite a gap right now. So Lucas Brown still leads the way in this race. Rossi Banham right now is trying as hard as he can, but Rossi Banham will be considered in the race result because of a possible transponder issue.
Okay, as Rossi Banham has a look down into the hairpin again, he's going to launch it on Lucas Brown. He's got the place. Lucas Brown gets squirrely. Ryan Hitchcock goes through as well, as Taylor Lawrence has also joined this fight, having a look at the back. So Rossi Banham retakes the lead with Lucas Brown from Ryan Hitchcock from Lucas Brown. That's a rider. Oh, that's two riders off. That looks like a big one.
Yeah, both riders up on their feet though, and just maybe discussing what's going to happen next. Pick up the bikes or just retire from the race, because that's quite a long place to go down. But Rossi Banham is in the lead of the race right now. The riders are coming round the first turn now. It's just that it's almost like a double apex, the first turn. So now that's where the crash happened. But Rossi Banham leads the way. Ryan Hitchcock though is on his tail, but then Ryan Hitchcock's tail, it is Lucas Brown, and then Lucas Brown's tail, it's Taylor Lawrence. There is a 4-riders train, and it's about to be 5. Reese Peacock, who we're known to battling with these boys up front, is joining the party.
Yeah, as Ryan Hitchcock made a move on Rossi Banham into the hairpin. Lucas Brown's also going to fancy his chances on Rossi Banham going into the final corner. This is a 5-bike fight that we have for the lead, as we see a battle in the mid-pack within the horseshoe. This is Rossi Banham and Ryan Hitchcock side by side going around blind billies. But will Lucas Brown pick up any pieces here, as Taylor Lawrence has to defend from Reese Peacock?
Yeah, Rossi Banham right now, he's trying absolutely everything, but Ryan Hitchcock, he's on it. But the thing is, Rossi Banham looks to dive down the inside here. Will he make it work? Yes, he will. There's a slight gap on him for Ryan Hitchcock. Rossi Banham forced him to, but now Taylor Lawrence is on the attack. He's trying to take a much wider line, try to carry more core speed, but now this is making Lucas Brown think he can get past this, as I believe that's Reese Peacock made a move on. Yeah, Reese Peacock. But Rossi Banham, he's trying everything, and now he's leading the race with just 6 laps to go.
Yeah, no, Taylor Lawrence tried his luck into the hairpin as well and managed to get past Lucas Brown, which means Taylor Lawrence is all over the back of Ryan Hitchcock going down into turn 1. He tried the move but didn't quite make it work, which makes him compromise going into the S's. Can Lucas Brown set up a move as they go towards the hairpin? This has been the place of overtaking all race. Will Ryan Hitchcock send one on look, Rossi Banham, no, he won't, as Taylor Lawrence is now riding a lot more defensively, trying to defend from Lucas Brown.
Yeah, and you can see him come for the horseshoe now. There's almost like two changes in tarmac in that one corner. You can see the front end bobbling about sometimes if you run a little bit wide at the horseshoe, but Rossi Banham leads the way as they head onto the front straight. They come across to hit the timing beam for what will be 4 laps to go in this race, as Taylor Lawrence sets the fast lap of the race and makes the move on Ryan Hitchcock, and Taylor Lawrence the fast lap of the race at 40.193. But now they all come through the S's, they all turn right, then flip it round to the left. Rossi Banham is on it, he's going to the hairpin, he's making sure there's no room for Taylor Lawrence.
So what can Taylor Lawrence do in response to Rossi Banham? He said in the interview on Friday that he'd knock him off. He was only joking, of course, but what if that does happen? This is going to get very tight between the two of them, as Taylor Lawrence seems to have a good run on Rossi Banham here, going into the final corner, as we also catch up with another battle in the midfield. Can Taylor Lawrence get a run on Rossi Banham? Round blind Billies, that's Ryan Hitchcock on the inside of Taylor Lawrence as well. Taylor Lawrence has to check up, but Taylor Lawrence isn't going to let this one go easily. No, he will. That's Ryan Hitchcock back into the lead of the race. Can he overtake Rossi Banham now?
Yeah, Rossi Banham, he's trying to defend everything from Ryan Hitchcock, but Ryan Hitchcock, he's on it and he's trying everything. He's trying to fight every single move, but there is Taylor Lawrence creating a gap for himself. Taylor Lawrence, such an extreme riding style. I believe he had quite a heavy crash at Clondale in the warm-up, and straight away he was on it, and it's great seeing him still battling. Lucas Brown is currently in a massive scrap with Reece Peacock further back, but it's Taylor Lawrence who gets his front wheel was chopped off by Rossi Banham as we come across the timing line, and it's 2 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, no, fantastic race so far. What can Taylor Lawrence do? He can go down the inside of Rossi Banham, but he goes deep. Rossi Banham looks on the inside into the S's. No, Taylor Lawrence keeps the lead. Rossi Banham's now been compromised. Will Ryan Hitchcock have a go at him going down the hairpin? If he wants to win this race, he needs to get into P2 now with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Taylor Lawrence, it looks like he made contact with Rossi Banham in that first corner. You have to set up the bike and then get it back over the right side of the tyre. It's such a strange corner, and Rossi Banham, he's trying everything. He's not afraid to put a dive bomb as he almost makes contact once again, but will his effective driving help Ryan Hitchcock in the slipstream? He pulls out of it but cannot find any way past it. He pulls back into the slipstream because Lucas Brown is there wanting to make a move.
Yeah, no, great defending from Taylor Lawrence into turn 1 there. Rossi Banham still all over the back of them. There is nothing to separate the top 5 in this race. That's what makes it so exciting on this final lap as they go into the hairpin for the final time. Taylor Lawrence riding as defensively as he physically can with Rossi Banham all over him, going down the inside into the horseshoe. Taylor Lawrence has lost P1 to Rossi Banham with 2 corners to go. Will Taylor Lawrence send one into the final corner? No, he can't. Ryan Hitchcock all over the back of that bright green overalls as they come across the line now. Can anyone do anything to overtake from Rossi Banham? No, that's it. That's the race. Rossi Banham from Ryan Hitchcock from Taylor Lawrence.
Yeah, I believe Reece Peacock as well just ran straight on into the grass on that first kick as they hit the line, but there is sportsmanship and there is a handshake because they're happy, although maybe Reece Peacock never got the result he wanted with that 5th place. It is still a great result, and he's happy that he had a great battle, especially with Lucas Brown. I mean, they two were duking it out the whole race, but there is a wheelie from Rossi Banham, but Rossi Banham will be classified, even though Chris Bonder does have an issue, so he will not show up on our timing screens, but Rossi Banham wins the race and pulls a wheelie. You see him get his elbow down around the warm-up lap. He's absolutely delighted, but what a great race.
Yeah, no, what another fantastic race from Rossi Banham. He has been on top this weekend, rain or shine. This has been the driest race that they've had out there on these pit bikes, and he's shown time and time again that he has the pace to win these races, even though he was being challenged by 4 riders all race.
Yeah, it's a great result, and you can see some of the 50 riders and some of the minimoto riders just coming over and congratulating them. So yeah, it's a great result for Rossi, and you've really got to see how hard they race each other, although now, as you can see, they're best mates and they're having a laugh and a chat about it. They had such a close and fierce battle, so now it was a great race, and it's a great result from Rossi Banham. He was on it, and he was just straight away from the get-go, you just seen he meant business, and with all the scrapping that happened with the first 3, it just allowed Reece Peacock and Taylor Lawrence to come into play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the best races we've had this weekend so far. Taylor Lawrence even happy with that 2nd place. Even though we did say he was going for the win, you can always accept the podium.
Yeah, he certainly can. And of course, there's still one more race left for these guys. These guys will be out earlier. Well, these guys will be out later on for race 3, the final race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140s. So there's certainly something to look forward to for them. So Taylor Lawrence can still potentially beat Rossi.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If it's anything like that race, then we are surely in for another fantastic race in the Pit Bike 140s.
And now it is time for the Premier Class, the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. It is the Premier Class here at FAB-Racing, and it's the final step for what will be the riders' final step in the FAB-Racing careers before they usually head on to do something else. And talking about going on to do something else, Ronnie Harris should be wildcarding in the British Talent Cup with the British Superbike paddock at Donington Park. So it's so great to see young and up-and-coming riders given that chance.
Yeah, no, and his pace yesterday really went to show why he has this chance, having a massive high side on the exit of the S's and still getting back up on the bike and coming home to pick up a podium behind his teammate Ethan Sparks. So yeah, we are certainly in for another great race. The track has dried up a lot. We have blue skies out here at Clay Pigeon Raceway. So here we are as we await the Mini GP70 LS2 Helmets British Championship.
And of course, this will be the last race 2 of the weekend before we head on to what will be the final races for each class as the riders head on to their dummy grid before we head out on the running, before they head out on their warm-up lap. But race 1, it was a dominant performance, as we said, from Henry McCartney. He was straight away on it, and it just showing his true pace. And as you said, Ronnie Harris had that high side, still got a result, but there's some riders that will be up front today, such as Marco Holt, who also had that crash and just wasn't there in the wet conditions.
Yeah, no, the top 3 riders were in a different league to the rest of the grid yesterday in the wet conditions that we had, with McCartney lapping everyone up to P2 of Ethan Sparks. So here we are, we sit on the grid as we await the formation lap.
Yeah, we just wait for the riders to head out on the formation lap. Marco Holt, back your picture there on the Marco Simoncelli Grassini Honda inspired Metrokit bike, so with the iconic Minion helmet.
Yeah, absolutely. As we go, here is our starting grid. We have Henry McCartney on pole. Bear in mind, this was a shaken up qualifying session due to whether we had a dry session at the start and a wet session at the end. So the riders who went out first are at the start of the grid. So we have Henry McCartney in P1, Samuel Munson in P2, with Ethan Sparks and Marco Holt on the second row, with Blake Wilson in 5th, Ronnie Harris in 6th. We have Noah Guillory in P7th, with Ollie Sims in P8, Luke Fitcher in P9, with Ruben Bray in P10, Harry Payne in P11, with Hayden Whiteman in P12.
Yeah, yesterday it was a great race, as we've already mentioned, but now it's completely different conditions. The sun's out, it's dry, they're ready to race. You can still see a few damp patches, especially on that black line that splits the track. That will still be extremely slippy, as well as the puddles either side of it. But there's Ruben Bray lining up in the grid, the number 12 bike. So we're just waiting for all the riders to head out to the grid, and then we're waiting for the start marshal to clear off everyone. Then we look up to the lights for, hopefully we'll get going for what will be an incredible race. I mean, even Sparks, last year's champion, wanted to win it again, and now he's pushing on, and he's pushing on good. I mean, Samuel Munson, we usually wouldn't see him on the front row, but he's there and he's here for business. As we point up to the lights are on and the lights are off, and we are racing. Samuel Munson gets a pretty good start, but it's all with Ethan Sparks. Ethan Sparks gets pushed out almost to the grass, so he cannot find any way past Samuel Munson. Leads the way with Sparks just by Henry McCartney. Makes a pretty good start, but drops back to 3rd place of Marco Holt straight on his tail right now. Samuel Munson goes so defensive into that. It's almost 3 wide at one point for 2nd position. As we see Luke Fitcher, 2-time Mini GP50 winner here at this track this weekend, and now he's also racing in the 70s and currently in 10th place.
Yeah, no, exactly. Marco Holt did not get the start he would have wanted. He was up on one wheel at one point, lost a few positions, but he's back up into P4, and he's going to try his best to make some inroads on the top 3. That is Samuel Munson defending from Ethan Sparks as they go down towards turn 1. Is Ethan Sparks going to send it? No, he's going to sit behind for now as they go round to the S's for the 2nd time in this race.
Yeah, Samuel Munson, this is his chance to win the race. He needs to go from this first lap, and he has, and he's doing some great defensive work, but Sparks finds a gap and he goes for it. Sparks is leading the race. Even Sparks, last year's champion, is now leading the race from Samuel Munson. Samuel Munson, the real question is, what can he do? Can he fight back? As Henry McCartney last race's winner is straight in his tail, but Marco Holt as well is just behind.
Yeah, never count out Ronnie Harris either, who also had some extreme pace yesterday as Marco Holt is squarely on the exit of the final corner there. Can Ronnie Harris mount a move into turn 1? Not quite. He doesn't seem close enough, but there's not a lot to separate this top 5.
Yes, Ethan Sparks leads the way with a 39.1 that time around, fastest lap of the race. But yeah, as you said, Ronnie Harris has some great pace. He was leading the championship heading into last round, but he had quite a vicious high side at Ella Park, and that just threw away his championship lead. So now it's just regaining the points and try regain the positions within the races without risking too much. So this is round 4. This is when you start thinking about the championship positions. But for Samuel Munson's case, he will want to try everything to at least get a podium, if not try to push on for this race win.
Yeah, no, this battle appears to be for second place at the moment as Ethan Sparks appears to be checking out. Is that Ronnie Harris making a move on Marco Holt? He has to think about it, but slots back in behind that Minion helmet, number 58, as they come into the S's on this lap of the race. We have Marco Holt in P4 with that Marco Simoncelli inspired livery. Is that McCartney on the inside? Yes, it is. That's Marco Holt round the outside, of McCartney into the hairpin.
Yeah, Marco just slammed the door shot on McCartney. There was no way past him, but Henry McCartney, he knows this circuit pretty well. He's going to try to push on this. Ethan Sparks, that lap round set the fastest lap of the race on 38.4. So Ethan Sparks, the only rider in the 38-second bracket right now, so he's absolutely on it. So right now, it seems it's all on Samuel Munson to try and defend the second place. Marco Holt gets past Henry McCartney now, and now it's Marco Holt's turn to see if he can get past Samuel Munson.
Yeah, no, absolutely, but the more these guys fight, the more Ethan Sparks can get away with a 1.5 second gap at the moment. Ethan Sparks currently holds the fastest lap of the race with a 38.435 as Ronnie Harris is now having a look at Henry McCartney. Can he find a way through? Can he force a mistake? But no, Henry McCartney seems to be closer to the back of Marco Holt as it seems. But no, Ronnie Harris is now closer to the back of McCartney.
Yeah, Henry McCartney, it looks like that, so his rear tail unit has moved about quite a lot and vibrating quite a lot, so hopefully it stays on and everything's good for the rest of the race. With just 7 laps to go in this race, Ethan Sparks still leads away by 1.9 seconds as Ronnie Harris dives down the inside of Henry McCartney. Now the question is, what can Ronnie Harris do? We mentioned earlier he has great pace at this circuit and in the dry conditions, so now what will he do to try and bridge the championship gap, because he can see his teammate Ethan Sparks on the Vision Track bike steam ahead. Yeah, no, never count out Ronnie Harris as he looks at the back of Marco Holt, trying to make a move for third in this race. But Marco Holt is currently closer to Samuel Munson, who has done a fantastic job this race so far of defending that P2. Hasn't been challenged yet, but Marco Holt seems to have got a good exit from the final corner. He's going to look to the outside line. Is he going to launch one to the first corner? Yes, he is, but no, Samuel Munson's going to close the door on Marco Holt, which is going to compromise him for the S's. Will Ronnie Harris have a look at him? No, not yet, as they go towards the hairpin. Yes, Ethan Sparks once again setting the fast lap of the race, but all eyes are on Samuel Munson right now. Can he keep this position? It's quite a big gap from first place, so now he just needs to stay focused. He just needs to keep Marco Holt, Henry and Ronnie Harris and Henry McCartney behind him. That's easier said than done though. 6 laps to go in this race. It's still quite a distance, and another rider, Luke Fitchett, in 9th place right now. Pretty good ride from him, of course, racing in the 50s as well, and it's quite a different riding style coming from a 50 to a 70, so racing both in one weekend is quite tricky as Marco Holt trying to make that move once again down the inside at turn 1, but he cannot make it work as Noah Guillory is fighting for position with Ollie Sims. Yeah, of course, as Marco Holt's now having a look at the inside of Samuel Munson into the hairpin, but no, Samuel Munson is planting his bike in the middle of the road and not giving anyone a chance to go through. So the more these guys fight, the more Ethan Sparks breaks away, currently gaining about 6/10 a lap on this group. Their battling is not helping them at all as Ronnie Harris, it looks close to the back of Marco Holt here. Can he set up a move as they go through Blind Billy's with 4 laps to go? Is he going to lunge one? No, not yet, as they go through turn 1 towards the S's for the 9th time this race. Yeah, I think Marco Holt is definitely trying to line up into a move now into somewhere like the S's or the hairpin, because you can just see now at turn 1 he's no longer trying to dive bomb and take a far more inside line, because now it's at the point where he's just trying to go to the outside of the track and carry more corner speed through turn 1 to try and line up a move later on in the lap. So later on in the lap we come around the final corner. Samuel Munson still defends the 2nd place. He's doing a great job, but what will Marco Holt do with just 3 laps to go? Will Marco Holt once again take that wider line? Yes, he does. He's not trying to affect his drive out, as we see Noah Guillory still having a battle with Ollie Sims for 7th place.
Yeah, no, Samuel Munson defending like his life is on the line as that's Marco Holt going down the inside of the hairpin. The commentator's curse has happened again as Marco Holt takes P2. Can he break away, or will Samuel Munson send another move on him? No, Ronnie Harris is now on the back of Samuel Munson. Will he be compromised? As that was a big wobble from Samuel Munson.
Yeah, Samuel Munson's front end just getting looser, slight speed wobble. Even on these bikes you can still get them, and Ronnie Harris is just behind him now. What will this do? Will Samuel Munson keep pushing, or will he need half a lap to just keep cool and keep calm? And Ronnie Harris put on pressure straight away. But I said at the start of last lap, Marco Holt was lining up a move either into the S's or into the hairpin. He was just trying to get a better drive out that first corner, and it worked. And now he's on the loose due to that shake up from the front wheel from Samuel Munson.
And don't count out Henry McCartney here, who is of course at the back of this trio as they go into the horseshoe with 2 laps to go. Can Ronnie Harris make a move on Samuel Munson, or will Samuel Munson defend till the end? We will soon see with 1 lap to go as we watch Ethan Sparks come across the line now to start his final lap of the race.
Yeah, Ethan Sparks has been an incredible race for him. Just 1 lap to go. Every single lap he's practically been in 38s, and that's what we love to see from him. Consistency is key, and that's why he leads by 4.2 seconds. Marco Holt though is still in 2nd place. It looks like Marco Holt has the 2nd place in the bag if he can just stay on. You can see Marco Holt's dad looking from the background there, but there's Samuel Munson as well in your picture, still trying to defend absolutely everything for his dear life from Ronnie Harris. But Ronnie Harris sets up Henry McCartney there through the horseshoe as Ethan Sparks wins race 2 here at Clay Pigeon. He punches the air, he stands up on the motorcycle, he is absolutely delighted as Marco Holt comes home in 2nd. Samuel Munson managing just to defend that 3rd place, that final position on the podium. And wow, what a great ride from Ethan Sparks and Marco Holt, and great defending from Samuel Munson. See Ethan Sparks standing up and 1 leg up in the air as he did at Ella Park.
See, it's impressive until he falls off. So yeah, no, brilliant race again. Fantastic defending from Samuel Munson from the beginning to the end of this race. But it's this man here. It's this man here, Ethan Sparks. Take a bow, my son. What a ride that was.
Yeah, it was a great ride and great skills to be able to show, but he is delighted with that. Maybe a little wheelie now from him, and there he is trying to wheelie the 70, but great result from Ethan Sparks, and something that we're used to seeing from him. Of course, last year's champion and an excellent and, as I said, consistent ride. But there's confirmation of his win by 4.2 seconds from Marco Holt in 2nd place, and Samuel Munson great defending from Ronnie Harris in 4th place. Henry McCartney sat there in 5th place most of the race, but tried absolutely everything he could. Blake Wilson came home in 6th, and Noah Gilray in 7th. Ollie Sims had a great battle with Noah Gilray and came home in 8th, with Luke Fitchett, 2-time winner at the circuit this weekend in the 50 class, come home in 9th, and Ruben Bray rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, no, these lads never fail to give us the entertainment that we are all here for.
And well, that was it. That was race 2 from what is the Premier Class, the FAB-Racing LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship.
As we are here for the AC40 Pro Race 3. We had a fantastic race out on track earlier in completely different conditions, didn't we, Lewis?
Yeah, we certainly did, and it was completely different conditions. It was mixed conditions. So now the riders finally have a dry track to show their worth and we might get a completely different result from what we've got in the past 2 races. I mean, the thing is about FAB, of course, your qualifying position decides your starting position for all 3 races. So it means even in qualifying, if you got a good position, hate the wet weather, or are very, very inexperienced in the wet weather, and have not had the first 2 great races, you still get equally as good of a chance in race 3.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is probably going to be the driest race that we have had all weekend. Damp patches are starting to evaporate from the circuit, so we should have an exciting dry race.
Yeah, but you could just see Josh Day warming up his son's Harrison's back tyre and getting any dirt or stones that was off it while wheeling it through the paddock onto the racetrack. So now we are waiting to head out for the warm-up lap, which what I'm sure is going to be a great race, as Lewis Hull, of course, starts in pole position with Harrison Day alongside him, and Sam Gardner, who had quite a disappointing race 2, starts in 3rd. Matthew Thomas on the bright green bike in your picture there, the 128, starts in 4th, with Jensen Bishop 5th. Byron Johnson starts in 6th, with Liam Lindquist in 7th. Chloe Gleason, one of our female riders here at FAB, and they're doing a great show to get more females involved. Starts 8th, Oliver Hall starts 9th, George Ackerman 10th, Dylan Tureen starts P11, Rex Austin starts 12th, and Callum Maxwell rounds off the grid in the 7th row of the grid in 13th.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The sun is out here at Clay Pigeon Raceway. We still have the occasional dark cloud in the sky, but it doesn't look like we're going to be affected by it too much, because I believe it's blowing the other way. But we'll have to see. The weather has been very temperamental all weekend, so it remains to be seen.
Yeah, this morning it was bright sunshine as Lewis Hull crashes on the grid on the way to his grid position. So that is not what he wanted at all, and now it's just time to recollect his thoughts, forget about that straight away. Final checks, just check that he's okay first of all before the race starts, and he's starting in pole position, so he's going to want to start his race and just go for it first off.
Yeah, no, will that shake up his confidence though? You never want a moment like that, especially when your nerves are as high as they are for these lads out on track, as we are waiting for confirmation of the start, for the start marshal to point to the red lights. As we wait and see, all the riders look to be ready. They're going to be trying their best to make as many positions as they can into turn 1. So expect carnage. And we do have a few positions not lined up as the marshal points to the red lights. The red lights come on, and it's lights out, and away we go. Brilliant start. And what a start that is for Sam Gardner, coming round down into turn 1 now. Brilliant start as everyone gets through cleanly. Coming round to the S's for the first time. Is there going to be? That's 3 wide. Byron Johnson having a look, but nowhere through for Byron Johnson as they go to the hairpin for the first time this race. A short start for Harrison Day out in front with Sam Gardner behind him. And what start that was.
Yeah, Harrison Day leads the way, but Sam Gardner's still there in second place. What will he be able to do? Lewis Hull has dropped all the way back to fourth. It's a real question of, has that crash affected him at all, and what will he be able to do late race? But Byron Johnson is on Sam Gardner's tail. Byron Johnson thinks he has pace to be able to compete with Harrison Day, because we've seen this weekend. Harrison Day off the line has been amazing, but late race pace has been Byron Johnson's key as he gets past Sam Gardner in the left kink.
Yeah, no, brilliant move from Byron Johnson. Will Byron Johnson have the pace to hunt down Harrison Day and make a move, as we look at Lewis Hull in the background putting pressure on Sam Gardner?
Yeah, and one person we haven't mentioned just yet is, of course, Oliver Hall up into 7th place. Great start from him, and Matthew Thomas just dropping back to 5th. But Matthew Thomas is just on the back of this group. You can just see him working behind Lewis Hull, trying to just bridge the gap and letting Sam Gardner and Lewis Hull fight as Lewis Hull dives down the inside. His knee was practically on the grass as he slightly sets up Sam Gardner. Will it let Matthew Thomas through? No, it will not. Matthew Thomas is just behind him. Matthew Thomas will try and fight anyway past through this kink on the straight. Although it's called a straight, it's not really straight, as Byron Johnson gets into the lead of the race past Harrison Day.
Can Byron Johnson check out now though, or will Harrison Day, as we have a rider down in the back of the track? But yeah, we've got a red flag. We have a red flag.
Yeah, rider down there. 7 laps to go in this race, so hopefully they're all right, and hopefully they'll get up on their feet. But red flag in this race, so we'll need to get us restarted eventually. 7 laps to go, and it was only a 30,000th of a second difference between Byron Johnson and Harrison Day across the line, so it's heated up to be a real great race in conditions I've certainly hit up across the weekend.
Yeah, no, exactly. An exciting race so far. We must receive confirmation of what has actually happened. It seems to be pretty serious. There's been an incident into the horseshoe, I believe, so we're going to have to see what occurs.
Yeah, so it was a great start. It was a great start to the race. Harrison Day got away cleanly, but then Byron Johnson, once he got a clear track, he was on it. He was straight away bridging that gap, and you can just see all the riders lined up there, and you can just see the slight elevation change in the track. It almost looks slightly back from that camera angle, but we can see all the riders maybe just having a little conversation, discussing what happened at the start of the race. And well, in Lewis Hull's case, what they can do better, because Lewis Hull dropped down to 4th place at the start from pole position, so now it's a real question of, will he be able to get that better start?
Yeah, no, exactly. I believe the start will be reordered to the way that we had it before, so Byron Johnson is going to need to redo the work he has just done at the start of this race. But an entertaining start to the race for sure. You can still see a couple of puddles on the right of your picture, so still tricky track conditions out there for the lads.
Yeah, certainly, and there's some slight dips in the track sometimes that you just can't see see with your eyes, and you only really do see it with this water that's lying on the middle of the, well, lying at the side of the track. It's the only way you can really tell where the dips are, and they kind of stay there for majority of the day, to be honest. There's some parts of the track and some puddles they just seem to always be there when it rains, and it seemed to be there for almost the whole day. But it looks like bikes are now getting started and the riders maybe heading back to get the race restarted.
Yeah, exactly. There we see Oliver Hall. It's good to know that everything is okay as the lads come round the final sector now to restart this this AC40 Pro.
Yeah, you can see Oliver Hall walking with his dad, and well, his dad looks like he's just checked on his son. His son, he's on his feet, and that's all that matters. I mean, this Oliver Hall looks okay. Of course, last year's rookie champion. It's great to see him up on his feet after that incident as we wait for what is going to be a great race for the final race of the weekend for the AC40 Pro class.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we have a full race restart, which means the grid will be reordered. We might not have a warm-up lap. We believe that the tyres could be warm enough to just get going again, but we will have to wait and see on that one. We are receiving it as we speak. So
yeah, there's not that, well, the fuel tanks in these mini motors are not that big, so there may not be a warm-up lap. There may be. It just depends of if the mini motors can go the distance, to be honest, because the last thing we want is the bikes to all run out of fuel before the line. So now we're just waiting. Some riders and teams prefer, right, it looks like one warm-up lap we're going to get, so we are going to get a warm-up lap while we wait for all the riders to make their way around before we get the full race restart.
So to repeat the grid, we have Lewis Hull in P1 from Harrison Day in P2, Sam Gardner in P3 with Matthew Thomas in P4, Jensen Bishop in P5 with Byron Johnson in P6, Liam Lindquist in P7 with Chloe Gleason in 8th, Oliver Hall in P9 with George Ackerman in P10, Dylan Tureen in P11 with Rex Austin, and Callum Maxwell finishing the top 13.
Yeah, so what will we get in this race? We just have to wait and find out, because it was an excellent start to the race, and we're really waiting to see if Lewis Hull can try and get a better start this time around, because he did drop down the fourth on that first couple of laps, and now he's got another chance from pole position, his last chance of the weekend. So now it's going to be time to see, can Lewis Hull finally change that pole position into a race win?
Yeah, no, Matthew Thomas is another rider out there who would want to get a better start than his previous start. He fell back a couple of positions, and we saw him fighting in the mid-pack as we line up on the grid to get this race restarted.
Yeah, we do, and we just, final checks are being done, final warm-up of the tyres, just check there's no debris on it, final, well, start to the bike actually, it seems, for Lewis Hull as he's having slightly more issues on the grid.
Yeah, not good for Lewis Hull at all. He had his fall at the start of the first attempt at this race, and now he's having issues at the start of this race. So everything seems to be going wrong so far, but he is still starting on that pole position as the lights have been pointed to, and we have the 3 red lights. And the lights are out for the second time. Was that a jump start from Hull? I'm not too sure about that one as Harrison Day takes the lead into turn 1. Sam Gardner into P2 as we have Byron Johnson making a move up into P4. And that's Sam Gardner losing out as brilliant start from Byron Johnson, already up into P2 through the S's.
Yeah, Sam Gardner, a real loser on that start that time around, but Harrison Day, once again, first off, he just went for it. But Lewis Hull, he dropped back to third, not as bad as race was, and now it's time to see. Lewis Hull has the perfect marker in Byron Johnson. Lewis Hull goes extremely wide through the horseshoe. That is not where you want to be, as now that gives Matthew Thomas a slight head. Look at that gap now it's formed. Byron Johnson has been let loose onto Harrison Day as we come across the line, come towards the line to come across the line to set the first lap of this restart. It's come alongside, and Byron Johnson leads the way coming across the line there, and Harrison Day has been dropped back to second place. Byron Johnson, fastest lap of the race, on 45.9 on that first lap. Of course, that will come down as that was from a standing start, but Byron Johnson, you can just see how confident he is, and Matthew Thomas is lurking behind this freeway battle for the win.
Yeah, no, Byron Johnson not hanging about to get to where he was before the initial red flag, which means that we have Day now in second with Lewis Hull all over the back of Harrison Day. This is an interesting battle this time. Is that Lewis Hull making a move on the inside? No, it is not, as they go towards the final corner with 8 laps to go. Can Lewis Hull set Harrison Day up for a move as they come onto the start-finish straight? He tugs into the slipstream and he has a little wobble himself. There seems to be a problem with Lewis Hull.
Yeah, Harrison Day right now, he's just trying absolutely everything to defend, but Lewis Hull, you can just see his bike chattering away and vibrating. You can see how uncomfortable that is to ride. It's so hard to have confidence in your motorcycle when it's like that. Lewis Hull, though, quite a big character. I mean, he's quite tall, so he can easily get his leg down, and he's got some height advantage around the corners just to get the body weight and get the lean angle into the motorcycle. But on the straight deficit, with the speed deficit that he has because of that height, it means that he's less aerodynamic, and it's allowing him to just lose time in that straight line. So Harrison Day right now is going to be wanting to just try and keep him behind and almost push him into the back of Matthew Thomas, and let Matthew Thomas then start scrapping with him. If Matthew Thomas goes down the inside, as I said, Matthew Thomas now into third place and setting the fastest lap of the race, but Lewis Hull comes back straight away. Is this a scrap now for third place, and will this let Harrison Day loose? It appears not so.
Yeah, no, I was going to say never counts out Matthew Thomas. Lewis Hull definitely has a straight line speed problem on his red machine there as they come into the hairpin with 6 laps to go. Is Lewis Hull going to have make a move on Harrison Day? He's all over the back of him. Matthew Thomas has fallen off the back of these two, but he's still going to be sat there licking his lips as he goes down the inside. Lewis Hull doesn't quite make the move on Harrison Day there, but he is all over the back of him. It's a shame that he has an issue in the straight line, because I'm sure that he'd be through on Harrison Day by now.
Yeah, Lewis Hull, he's trying absolutely everything. He's trying to get his full body tucked in, but he just struggles compared to Matthew Thomas, who seems just to get tucked in easy. It's just how big of a rider he is compared to the bike that he's on. He'd be much comfortable on something like a 50, but you can just see how fast he is going into the S's. The start of the S's, he ran them slightly wider, gave him a tighter line for the second part, so he just lost his drive, and it let Harrison Day just have a little bit of breathing room into the hairpin. But there's the race leader, Byron Johnson, leading by 1.3 seconds across the line last time around, doing 44 seconds easily. He's just going about doing his laps, and he's doing it perfect with just 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Lewis Hull's 41 machine there, looking like a bucking bronco through some of these corners. There's definitely something wrong with it as they go onto the start-finish straight with 4 laps to go. Matthew Thomas on the inside of Lewis Hull makes the move for P3, but Lewis Hull isn't going to let this one go easily, diving down back into P3, into turn 1, and Matthew Thomas on the inside going towards the S's, but no, Lewis Hull's still wrestling that 41 machine as he tries to get a good run on Harrison Day here towards the hairpin.
Yeah, Lewis Hull is so entertaining to watch. You can just see the bike chattering away. You can just see it weaving underneath him, and he's trying absolutely everything just to force it to do what he says. You see him go wide a couple of times, especially here at the horseshoe, slightly wider there, but that might help his drive slightly. But now it's all about being defensive and trying not to affect his drive, because the drive is so crucial onto the start-finish straight. I mean, Matthew Thomas right now, he's going to be looking for any way passing this front straight, because he knows he's faster in the straight line. He looks towards the inside, but cannot make it work. Lewis Hull still is defending that third place.
Yeah, and all this battling, letting Harrison Day get away. Byron Johnson has a 1.7 second gap to Harrison Day, so the main battle looks to be for the final spot on the podium here as Matthew Thomas tries to get a good run on Lewis Hull, going down towards the hairpin with 3 laps to go, and he's dived down the inside. Great move.
Yeah, great move there from Matthew Thomas, and it's exactly what he wanted. Now it's his time. This is an opportunity to go for Harrison Day if he wants. So he still has 3 laps to go, but if he starts scrapping with Lewis Hull consistently, all it's going to do is slow them down and allow Harrison Day just to get away, and then they can kiss goodbye to that second place. But there's your race leader just going for your picture, coming across the line with a 44.554 and a 2.1 second lead from Harrison Day. So Lewis Hull, he's trying absolutely everything, but it's just that straight line speed. He's a bigger rider and he's struggling. You can just see the bike physically as well. It's not stable at all. It's chattering underneath him, and in the straight lines it's not helping him at all. So really through the corners he's fighting it, and through the straight he has to try and tuck himself in and fight his body.
Yeah, no, Matthew Thomas gaining on Harrison Day now with 2 laps to go. Can Matthew Thomas launch a move on Harrison Day within these final 2 laps as they go into the final corner? Can he have a look around the outside? No. Can he set himself up to have a better exit going onto the start-finish straight as they approach Flying Billies with 2 laps to go? Can Matthew Thomas set up a move? Is he going to launch it on Harrison Day? No, stays behind him for now.
Yeah, last lap now. Harrison Day is trying absolutely everything to defend from Matthew Thomas. Matthew Thomas, though, he wants the second place. He's bridged the gap. The gap was pretty large from Harrison Day and Matthew Thomas, but now he's got it all down. And Byron Johnson once again sets a 44.456 on the second last lap. Now we're on the final lap. He comes round. He's got one more turn after this to do, and all he has to do is just stay on it. He's got a 2.7 second lead over Harrison Day, which is now scrapping for Matthew Thomas. So now they come round the final corner. Byron Johnson should win the race, takes the checker flag in the final race of the weekend for the AC40 Pros, as Harrison Day defends his way to second place over Matthew Thomas, and Lewis Hull comes home from fourth place after starting in pole position.
Yeah, another dominant ride from Byron Johnson. Everything he needed to do, he did out there today, with Harrison Day defending second place, with Matthew Thomas picking up third from fifth at one point. Brilliant battle as we see Byron Johnson wave to the camera. Another showboater out there.
Yeah, Byron Johnson's absolutely delighted with that race result. You can see clapping from some of the parents around the circuit that are watching them race. So yeah, it was a great result, and it was the last race of the weekend. But some of the riders, like Byron Johnson, Harrison Day and Matthew Thomas, they will actually have another race today in the LC40 Elites, because they're able to race in both classes and it helps reduce costs. But there's confirmation of Byron Johnson winning the race by 2.9 seconds across the line, as Harrison Day comes home in second and setting his personal best lap time on the last lap, with Matthew Thomas in third with that big battle between Lewis Hull all throughout the race, and Lewis Hull finishes in fourth with Sam Gardner fifth. Jensen Bishop comes home in sixth, with George Ackerman in seventh, Dylan Tureen eighth, Rex Austin ninth, and Callum Maxwell rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, no, certainly a great way to end the AC40 Pro race this weekend. I'm sure they'll be back in action the next time around. But yeah, thank you for tuning in to the AC40 Pros.
Next up, we will have the last race for the Extreme 200s, and you can just see some of the riders at the corner of your picture getting their helmets all strapped in. Harvey Claridge being one of them, a Sunday riders. He will once again have to start from the back of the grid. Philip Soroviak, of course, didn't start race one, and now you can see him in the corner of your picture heading out to the track now for race 3. So now Philip Soroviak is going to be wanting to try and get that race win that he desperately deserves, and Harvey Claridge doing up his gloves. Of course, he has started from the back of the grid, as he is a Sunday rider, as I said, so not really too much rush to head out there before the riders will head out on their warm-up lap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We had a brilliant race earlier on. Philip Soroviak is back on the grid. He didn't start the first race for reasons I am unsure of. But yeah, there we go. We should have a full grid. We had a very wet race earlier on, so this will be the first time they have a dry session.
Yeah, they finally have a dry session, and they finally have time to prove themselves in these dry conditions as the riders head out on their warm-up lap. And it will be Ryan Hitchcock who starts in pole position from Philip Soroviak, who's finally on the grid. Rossi Banham will be starting in third place, and Bailey Stewart Campbell in fourth. Roy Gilroy on the Mini GP70 will be starting in fifth. Jack Andrews, who we've seen multiple times today in the Moto team as well, in sixth. Ollie Walker will be starting seventh, with Sean Whitaker in eighth. Matthew Frederick will be starting ninth, with Ben Jolliffe in 10th and Jolliffe in 10th, and Thomas Dudson in 11th, and Owen Thomas in 12th, and rounding out the grid will be Clayton Edmondson in 13th. But of course, we also will have Harvey Claridge, who did not qualify yesterday. He'll be starting 14th position and last, but we've seen it this morning. Harvey Claridge can cut through a pack.
Yeah, no, after a crash earlier on as well, he'll be wanting to make amends on his performance earlier on as they line up to the grid for the start of this Extreme 200 race. We're waiting for the start marshal to point to the red lights to get these riders underway. It looks like we have the full grid as we are ready to go racing in the Extreme 200 as we have the red lights. And the lights are out. That's a good start from Philip Soroviak as we have Ryan Hitchcock taking second, with Rossi Banham in P4 behind Bailey Stewart Campbell. So we have Philip Soroviak in P1 going towards the S's for the first time. Very clean start from everyone out on track. Rossi Banham having a look at Stewart Campbell, who he lost out to into P1 as they come down into the hairpin for the first time. Relatively clean from everyone out on track. That's a move from Harvey Claridge.
Yeah, great move there from Harvey Claridge, and Philip Soroviak leads the way. What will he be able to do now? You can just see third place Bailey Stewart Campbell. He's running I believe actually Owen Jenner's old levers that he used to use in British Junior Supersport. So it's great to see the riders from different classes well being able just to lend some levers for the weekend so he can come out racing and come out racing strong in third place right now. But Felix Soroviak, another Talent Cup rider, in first place right now, but Ryan Hitchcock is on his tail. And what can Ryan Hitchcock do? Because we've seen Felix Soroviak in the dry just steam away, but Ryan Hitchcock has other plans. That Ryan Hitchcock is on his tail 1/10 of a second across the line last time out.
Yeah, no, Ryan Hitchcock is not going to make this easy for Filip Soroviak, who currently has the fastest lap of the race, but it was the first lap, so we should see who is the fastest out on track as they come round the final corner. Nothing to separate the top two as they come onto the start-finish straight for the first time in this Extreme 200 race. Coming past our commentary box into turn one, that's Filip Soroviak defending from Ryan Hitchcock down into turn one. Ryan Hitchcock has got the switchback into the S's. Ryan Hitchcock takes the lead.
Yeah, Ryan Hitchcock, great move there. He got past at the start finish straight, and Felix Soroviak dived up the inside at the first corner and dived up the inside here at the hairpin, makes it work as he goes to the horseshoe. Will Ryan Hitchcock be able to do anything about it? No, he will not. Now Ryan Hitchcock, will he try and line up the same move that he did the last lap to get a great drive on the start finish straight and let Felix Soroviak go wide at turn one once again? But will Felix Soroviak learn from that and know exactly what to do now? It looks like Ryan Hitchcock almost dives up the inside, but Felix Soroviak slams the door on him and defends perfectly. And now Felix Soroviak now has his chance with 9 laps to go.
Ryan Hitchcock, fastest man on track at the moment with a 39.023, all the way on all the way down the back straight as they go towards the hairpin. Not a move this time. The top three all from the Talent Cup, which goes to show the talent that we have here at FAB-Racing in the Extreme 200. Can Filip Soroviak defend from Ryan Hitchcock all race as they go into the final corner with 9 laps to go?
Yeah, great ride here from all 4 riders. Actually, it's just a complete gaggle of riders. But yeah, I always like Ryan Hitchcock actually dived to the inside. Felix Soroviak, you can see now in the race lead. Felix Soroviak, how will he respond? And maybe Bailey Stewart Campbell will now get into the mix, make a move. Felix Soroviak, and well, we see Felix Soroviak not be able to dominate in dry conditions, which is such an unusual thing to witness. But Ryan Hitchcock stopping them. The top 4 riders have raced in the British Talent Cup, which is just great to see. Of course, Rossi Bam also racing, Harvey Clark racing in the British Talent Cup back in 2018. There's so much Talent Cup riders in this class. It's so great to see them all performing and showing, basically all having fun and showing themselves what to do. Ollie Walker as well, Talent Cup rider, so it's so much Talent Cup riders in this field.
Bear in mind, we haven't had the easiest weekend for these guys out on track with the changing weather conditions. So perhaps Filip Soroviak hasn't had the practice that he'd normally want to have. As Stuart Campbell is looking on the back of Filip Soroviak as Ryan Hitchcock seems to be breaking away now.
Yeah, Ryan Hitchcock seems just to be going for it. He set a 38.2 last lap, half a second faster than Soroviak. So what can Soroviak do? Can he do anything? Because as soon as Bailey Stewart Campbell gets past him, that may be game over. As soon as Ryan Hitchcock is in the rhythm. But of course, this is FAB-Racing. Anything can happen in this Extreme 200 class. As we cross the line to make it 6 laps to go in this race, Ryan Hitchcock now leads by 9/10 of a second.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Hitchcock.
Bailey Stewart Campbell
is off. That is a big accident for Bailey Stewart Campbell, giving Rossi Banham P3 as he gets up. That's what we like to see, moving after that big accident.
Yeah, Bailey Stewart Campbell up on their feet straight away, and it's great to see the rider up on their feet as well. That's the best thing to really see, but the bike's still lying there, clearly a bit windy. That was quite a big high side, to be honest. It lost it quite late. I mean, Bailey Stewart Campbell's just on that side of the tyre, and it just let go and re-gripped, which almost caused the bike to somersault over to the other side. But Ryan Hitchcock, he will know nothing about it until now, and Ryan Hitchcock leads by 1.1 seconds. It's relieved all the pressure off Felix Soroviak. So now Rossi Banham is in 3rd place.
Yeah, no, the battle for first has certainly calmed down a bit as we see a move in the background there. But what can Filip Soroviak do in response to Ryan Hitchcock? Can Rossi Banham have a look at Filip Soroviak as well after such a dominant weekend in the Pit Bike 140s? We shall have to wait and see as we had a yellow flag out on track.
Yeah, Felix Soroviak still in 2nd place right now, in a comfortable 2nd place, I would say, right now. I mean, Rossi Banham still no rider to be messed with, but we can see a battle right now of Jack Andrews and Ollie Walker, I believe, having a battle and really going for Ollie Walker, as we said, the Talent Cup rider, and Jack Andrews also racing in the Moto team class. Jack Andrews also in a 140 pit bike, while Ollie Walker is on quite a popular in this class, a KTM 85cc two-stroke, as the two-stroke powers past Jack Andrews over the start-finish line. Can Jack Andrews do anything? Yes, he can. He dives down the inside. This is the battle for his 6th place right now, as Jack Andrews goes slightly wide at the first part of the S's. And will this give Ollie Walker the drive to the hairpin? Yes, it will, as Ollie Walker looks down the inside but backs out of it last minute.
Yeah, no, brilliant battle between the two. Jack Andrews keeping that place with Ollie Walker behind him. We did have a yellow flag as these two were battling, so they did have to calm down a little bit as they go into the final sector now with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, there's 3 laps left in this race. You can just see the two riders going for it. You can see completely different styles of this bike. Ollie Walker wants to get the fat part tire to get that drive out, which has clearly worked. How will he be on the brakes to the first corner? Jack Andrews was better last lap, and he's better this lap. Jack Andrews runs wide though, and Ollie Walker gets the undercut as they head into the S's. Will Ollie Walker run wide? No, he will not. And Ollie Walker now has the drive. You see Jack Andrews twisting the throttle as hard as they can. Of course, no quick shifter on these bikes. Ollie Walker runs wide, lets Jack Andrews through. Ollie Walker very, very wide, and it looks like he just got out of the power band there, and his two-stroke has left him with no drive coming out of the hairpin.
Yeah, no, definitely sparring partners around this Clay Pigeon circuit as we watch Ryan Hitchcock already lapping back markers with 2 laps to go. An assured ride so far with a gap of 2.1 seconds back to Filip Sorowiak, but there are still 2 laps to go as he comes around the final corner to begin the final lap of the race. Will he be able to keep it on the track? Will he be able to keep it facing the same direction? We shall soon see.
Yeah, it was a 2.1 second gap last time round. It's a 2.2 second gap last time round. All right, Hitchcock needs to do is keep it on 2 wheels. There he is there, making himself perfect for the S's, as well as Filip Sorowiak. But Filip Sorowiak had no answer that time round. But Filip Sorowiak, he still had a great ride, and all he needs to do is keep on, just like this man here, getting past back markers. But he will not be too concerned over these. He has quite a big gap, and he gets past with ease going into this last corner. He sets out the bike at the halfway point in the corner, puts it on his side, and what a great race today, a great performance from Ryan Hitchcock as he crosses the line to win the last race of the weekend for the Extreme 200s. And Filip Sorowiak comes home in 2nd place, and Rossi Banham comes home in 3rd on that Pit Bike 140 machine. Harvey Claridge, a very, very commendable 4th place, 10 positions gained that time round, started in the 14th position grid slot, and Harvey and Noah Gilroy come home in 5th on that mini GP70.
Yeah, no, Jack Andrews didn't have an answer for Ollie Walker in the end, as Ollie Walker comes around the final corner to come through in P6 with Jack Andrews behind in 7th. Didn't make it easy for him, but he managed to get past eventually, as Ryan Hitchcock also didn't have the easiest start, obviously having to fight with Filip Sorowiak with a battle race. So we had Ryan Hitchcock in P1, the number 43. We had Filip Sorowiak in P2, Rossi Banham in P3, Harvey Claridge in P4 with Noah Gilroy in P5, Ollie Walker in P6 with Jack Andrews in P7, P8 was Owen Thomas with P9 being Sean Whittaker, and we had Matthew Fedrick in P10 with Bailey Stewart Campbell DNFing after his accident at the S's.
Yeah, that class and that race, they're really just showing the diversity of the Extreme 200 class. Just the different style of machines, different styles of engines, and all of them being able to compete up front. I mean, the top 5 completely different motorcycles, and it's great to see so many riders taking so many different motorcycles and doing well on them and getting great results and putting in commendable laps. Filip Sorowiak, even though he was 2nd place, straight away on that final lap he got his personal best lap of the race. But there is Bailey Stewart Campbell after DNFing on the own general levers, as I mentioned, getting some help back to the pit lane, just trying maybe to get a bike bump started or kick started, depending if it has enough compression to it. And yeah, just trying to get kick started right now. You'll be able to see when it gets started with the amount of blue smoke that will come out the exhaust if they can get it started. But that was the last race of the weekend for the Extreme 200 class, and what a great race it was.
Yeah, definitely going out with a bang, especially for Bailey Stewart Campbell, who didn't have the race that he would have wanted to have, but again, providing some excellent entertainment for us here at FAB. An absolutely fantastic series, as you said, so many different motorcycles, as we see presumably his dad running with the machine, Jamie Stewart Campbell.
Yeah, just gave up on getting the bike started and decided it's faster and easier to get the bike pushed back to the pit lane. As you join us for the start of the Mini GP50 series,
We're just waiting for the riders to go out on track for the driest session that they will have so far this weekend. Lewis, what are you expecting from this race?
I'm expecting hard, close racing. As we've seen all weekend, you can see actually Taylor Lawrence at the background of your picture there in the bright green levers with the high vis on, just going to the grid of these riders, maybe just to give a couple of words of encouragement or just help out during the race. So this is the last race of the weekend for the 50s. Marco Holt is out in this race. He missed last race for whatever reason is unknown right now. But also the Spider-Man helmet is back. Archie O'Brien is back to his usual fashion with Marco Holt also being on the iconic menu.
So our starting grid, we have Archie O'Brien in with that Spider-Man helmet in P1. I believe he changes his helmet when it rains and when it's shine. That's why he's back using the tinted visor. So we have Archie O'Brien in P1 with a 40.751 in qualifying. We have Luke Fitchett in P2, Marco Holt in P3 with Bill Harris in P4, Frankie Watson in P5, Harley Baker in P6 with Bailey Lawrence topping out the grid in P7.
Yeah, it should be a great racing, great close racing as we expect from these riders. But Marco Holt making his way around. Marco Holt at the back of the field right now. I don't know if he's got a problem or just wanting to be one of the last to pull up to the grid, because sometimes it's an awful feeling, to be honest, waiting, and you can see Marco Holt maybe just try and get some temperature into his brakes before they come all down to the first corner at the same time. And it's a game of who can brake the latest as we wait for the riders to line up on the grid for what is going to be an incredible race free.
Yeah, no, this is set to be a fantastic race as Marco Holt rejoins the grid. Fingers crossed he doesn't have too much of an issue, because we are about to see a very, very tight, very close race between these guys as the start marshal points towards the lights. The lights come on and the lights are on. That's a good start from Archie O'Brien, but an even better start from Frankie Watson going down into P1. What a start. Marco Holt also into P2 with Archie O'Brien in P3 as they go to the S's for the first time.
Yeah, Luke Fitchett, great start from it. Now it's going to be a question is, can Luke Fitchett do his defence skills, and can Luke Fitchett hold off Marco Holt and Archie O'Brien, of course. But Archie O'Brien once again dropped back at the start, third place now, though he's not too far off. And now Archie O'Brien gets his chance to show himself properly in that late race pace. But Luke Fitchett is his chance to show off once again his defending skills. I mean, he's won 2 races out of 2 so far this weekend, and he wants to make it 3 out of 3. But Marco Holt would love to stop that. Marco Holt looks to dive down the inside but has to back out last minute as Luke Fitchett slams door. Will this affect his driving? Let Archie O'Brien through? Yes, it will. Archie O'Brien's through at the S's. Aggressive but fair move. Archie O'Brien now heading down to the hairpin with a sight on Luke Fitchett.
Yeah, no, these three providing some excellent racing again. Apologies for saying Frankie Watson into turn 1 as Luke Fitchett comes into the horseshoe now with Archie O'Brien right on the rear. Is Archie O'Brien going to try and get the lead of the race early on here? We know how quick he normally is in the dying embers, but he seems to have the pace over the other top 2 at the start of this race as they come on to the start finish line, moving all over the road, going around Blind Billy's down towards turn 1. Will Marco Holt launch a move? Yes, he will, but doesn't quite get the place from Archie O'Brien.
Yeah, Marco Holt in third place now, and Marco Holt really just needs to stay calm, because it looks like Archie O'Brien's going to line up a move into this hairpin on Luke Fitchett. But Luke Fitchett, he's so good at defending, and Archie O'Brien can find no way past, and Luke Fitchett's drive out of the S's was just incredible there, and just kept in mind, because this mini GP 50 class is so close. All the machines are practically identical, if not identical power, so it's so difficult. It's the rider that makes the difference, as we see so much in bike racing, as Archie O'Brien is the fast lap of the race as they come across the line to make it just 8 laps to go in this race, as Luke Fitchett is the first person to dip into the 39s as Marco Holt tries to dive up the inside of Archie O'Brien, sends him wide slightly. Will he make a move into the S's? No, he will not. Archie O'Brien closes the door. Archie O'Brien leaves no room for Marco Holt. They've raced so much, they know each other so well, so they have so much trust to be able to race this close as Archie O'Brien tries to go round the outside of Luke Fitchett. He cannot make it work. Will he switch back to the inside? He tries to, there's a slight gap, but there's not enough for him to fit into.
Yeah, no, exactly. As Archie O'Brien is having a look at Luke Fitchett into the final corner here. Will he get a better exit onto the start-finish straight? We shall soon see as they exit the final corner, going down to 7 laps to go. Will Archie O'Brien make a move into turn 1? He's not quite close enough this time round, but he doesn't have to defend from Marco Holt this time as they go into the S's now, as we watch Frankie Watson at the back of the pack having a look at Harley Baker through the start-finish straight, and that's Archie O'Brien again defending from Marco Holt.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien trying everything he can, just 7 laps to go in this race. It ticks down so quickly, but Luke Fitchett still in the race lead. He's showing no way past for Archie O'Brien. You've seen Archie O'Brien of how aggressive he can be, but Luke Fitchett right now leaving no way to be that aggressive. You can hear some of the crowd in the background wanting for a good battle, wanting their friends to do well, but Luke Fitchett comes across the line once again to lead the way with 6 laps to go, as Marco Holt actually sets the fastest lap of the race with a 39.7. The top 3 laps into 1/10, but Marco Holt now gets past Archie O'Brien in the first sector, coming out of the S's now. What can Marco Holt do? Can he be the one to finally get past Luke Fitchett, or will these two trip each other up?
Yeah, no, Luke Fitchett can get away if these guys spend too much time fighting one another, and as we know, Luke Fitchett can defend, so he hasn't looked bothered so far this race. But Archie O'Brien all over the back of Marco Holt. He's not going to want to let this one go for too long. He knows that he only has 5 laps to go when they cross the line, and he knows how hard Luke Fitchett can defend as they go through Blind Billies. Will Archie O'Brien launch a move on Marco Holt? No, he will set himself up for a better exit towards the S's. As he gets into the slipstream, through the S's they come now, nothing to separate the top 3. Will Archie O'Brien launch a move down towards the hairpin like we saw yesterday?
Does not look like he can, but Marco Holt once again setting the fast lap of the race with a 39.6, but Luke Fitchett was also in the 39.6, there's nothing between them. Archie O'Brien's been 2 attempts slower, so all the top 3, they're so close together. It looks like for the last 5 laps it's going to be like this. They're going to be glued together. Marco Holt though, average lap speed of 74 miles per hour. That is extremely fast on these 50cc motorcycles. So now Luke Fitchett still managing to defend, but it looks like Marco Holt is trying absolutely everything with his new fastest lap of 39.5 now. That is some incredible pace, and actually that is a brand new lap record. Marco Holt has shattered the lap record by about 0.3 of a second now. Marco Holt, the last lap record was 39.828. So now Marco Holt, new lap record, there's confirmation of that, and what an incredible lap. It just shows the pace that he has on Luke Fitchett.
Yeah, no, absolutely, but it is so close between these top 3 as Archie O'Brien now gets a better exit than Marco Holt. Marco Holt had to check up because Fitchett's poor exit. Will Archie O'Brien have a look into turn 1? Not quite, as Archie O'Brien now sets a new lap record. All of these riders pushing each other to new extremes. Will Archie O'Brien have a look at Marco Holt down into the hairpin? No, he's going to wait to try and pick up the scraps from a fight between the front 2.
Yeah, no, that record broken once again, and it's great to see there's confirmation of that one, a 39.580. These lap times will just be tumbling. Any fastest lap in this race is now a lap record. The previous lap record was held by Ryan Hitchcock, who we just seen in that last race, but Archie O'Brien is trying to find some way past Marco Holt as we see Luke Fitchett coming around towards turn 1, and no fastest laps and no lap records that time round. But they're still pushing. They're coming towards Bailey Lawrence, and now they get past her easily. It looks like they're not held up. No, they're not. Luke Fitchett though, still in the race. Marco Holt dives down the inside. There's a slight gap made, but by Luke Fitchett, and Luke Fitchett looked like his front end just bobbled slightly going into hairpin, which let Marco Holt through. So the real question is, can Marco Holt escape?
Yeah, no, Archie O'Brien had to check up on the exit of the hairpin as well, because he went a little bit too deep, nearly clipped the rear of Fitchett. However, he has got a better exit now onto the start-finish straight. Will Archie O'Brien also be able to make a move on Luke Fitchett as they go into the final lap of the race? Luke Fitchett goes down the inside of Marco Holt, and no, he has to check up to avoid hitting him, which allows Archie O'Brien through. Can Archie O'Brien now make a move on Marco Holt as Marco Holt squirrely through the S's on this final lap of the race? We have 2 sectors to go as Archie O'Brien is trying his best to set Marco Holt up within this final sector. Into the horseshoe they go. Archie O'Brien thinks about it, but has to back out as he slips back into the slipstream as they go towards the final corner of this race. Can Archie O'Brien spring a move? Not quite. Marco Holt seems to have control of the race. So here we go. This is Marco Holt coming across the line with Archie O'Brien on the inside, but it's Marco Holt who wins the race from Archie O'Brien, from Luke Fitchett, who put in an honourable performance, defending all race until a mistake on the final lap. Wow.
Yeah, Luke Fitchett on that last lap. There's confirmation of your podium. Marco Holt winning the race with Archie O'Brien coming home in 2nd place, and of course a lap record, and Luke Fitchett in 3rd. After on that last lap in the first corner, he almost got completely rammed into the side of the motorcycle. That the fact that he had to set up the bike, slam on the brakes, and I believe his rear wheel even lifted off the ground. He done everything he could to avoid contact, but he did. But he did finish in 3rd place which is still a commendable result. But Marco Holt, the man of the minute, didn't start race 2 today, but he started race 3 and he's won it. You can just see how much that means to him.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was a phenomenal race. They really put on a good performance for us there. So we had Marco Holt from Archie O'Brien, from Luke Fitchett, from Bill Harris, from Harley Baker, Frankie Watson and Bailey Lawrence in the 7th.
And now, next up, we will have the AC40 Rookie Race 3. And what will be their final race of the weekend for these youngsters. This is the youngest class at FAB, 6-year-olds, some of them, and some of them this is their first ever race season, 4th ever round of their life. So it's going to be some great racing, and they finally have completely dry conditions.
Yeah, no, exactly. We had a really, really wet race out last time for these lads, which is very, very difficult, especially considering how young these guys are. We had Max Johnson crashing out from the lead, which was a heartbreak for him. But yeah, we shall wait and see how they can do in this race.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. And will Taylor Tomlinson be able to do anything more than what he did last race? I mean, he dominated it, but will anyone be able to catch him? We're going to have to wait and find out. Taylor Thompson this year has been looking so good, and Annabelle McCarthy along the front row with him. Will she get a better start this time out? It's been an up and down weekend for her, but she is on the front row and she has got the best person starting in front of her, and that is Taylor Tomlinson to learn from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Driest conditions we have had all weekend for these guys, as we have mentioned, as we wait to begin the warm-up lap.
Yeah, we wait for the warm-up lap to come underway, and we wait for final checks to be done on the motorcycles, and we wait as they head on for the warm-up lap, and it will be Taylor Thompson starting in pole position alongside Annabelle McCarthy, with Logan Cousins in 3rd. Seth Hayward will be starting in 4th, with Preston Baker, who we've just seen his brother race in the 50s, starting 5th place. Max Johnson in 6th, with Tyler Hartley starting 7th. Sebastian Gizlowski will be starting in 8th, and Matthew Jennings in 9th. Daisy Polden in 10th, with Josh Perkins in 11th, Nicholas Dunwoody in 12th, Kai Hawkins in 13th, Archie Hooper 14th, Jensen Answell in 15th, Kyle Ratcliffe will be starting 16th, Mason Frederick in 17th, Jensen Cedrus in 18th, Oliver Wilson 19th, and Danny Longhurst rounds out what is quite a big grid for these young riders of 20 for the rookie class as they head around to the grid for what will be their definite last race of the weekend. These riders, of course, some of them have only done 1, 2, 3, 4 race weekends of their life, so this is such a new feeling to them still. Even though they're free race of the weekend, they get plenty of track time with FAB, it's still such a tricky thing for the young riders. Yeah, no, absolutely. This weekend has been carnage so far, so expect the same as we go into race 3 as the riders line up on the grid. Start marshal just waiting to see if everyone is ready to go. I believe everyone is in their grid position as the start marshal is about to point to the red lights to get this race underway. There's track marshal points to the red lights. The red lights are on and the lights are off, and they go racing. Annabelle McCarthy gets a poor start again as Taylor Tomlinson takes the lead. We have 5 wide in the background there as they go into turn 1, but it looks like Taylor Tomlinson is going to lead this comfortably, with Logan Cousins followed by Seth Hayward in P2. Annabelle McCarthy losing out substantially. Yeah, Preston Baker is up there and up in the positions in 4th place right now, but it's Taylor Thompson once again who leads the way, but can Logan Cousins do anything to stop him? And it's such a big feeling, it's such different levels of experience. So back markers come into play as Seth Hayward actually dives up the inside Logan Cousins, but round wide. So I do not know if that position will stick. We're going to have to wait and find out. Seth Hayward, it looks like the move has stuck. Yes, it has, and he's now chasing Taylor Tomlinson for that first position. He wants that win. He wants his first win here. Seth Hayward, though, looks down the inside, but he can find no way now into turn 1. As Seth Hayward is the fastest lap with a 50.8 on the first lap. Yeah, no, absolutely. This is going to be a thrilling fight for the lead between these two, with Logan Cousins also in the background ready to pick up the scraps, as Taylor Tomlinson has run pretty wide from the S's. Will that set Seth Hayward up, going down into the hairpin? He looks to the outside, but not quite an opportunity to make a move on Taylor Tomlinson, as Logan Cousins is now licking his lips, trying to pick up the scraps from these two tussling. Yeah, Seth Hayward is just trying everything he can. He's trying this way, that way to try and get past Taylor Tomlinson. But Taylor Tomlinson this year has been so good on the motorcycle, considering he's a rookie, just like all these riders. But he's took to it so well and straight away on the pace. And now it's great to see Seth Hayward being able to challenge him. He tries to get past. His bike's weaving near the grass and he gets past. But will Taylor Tomlinson make a move at turn 1? Yes, he will, but it will not stick. Seth Hayward closes the door and leaves no way past him. Seth Hayward on the number 15 leads the race from Taylor Tomlinson. Taylor Tomlinson has some competition.
Yeah, no, phenomenal move from Seth Hayward. Had to fight that bike through turn 1. If you take a really tight line through Blind Billy's, you can get a fantastic run towards turn 1, but it is extremely risky. And Seth Hayward took that risk and's got the lead of this race.
Yeah, Annabelle McCarthy there in your picture. Not a great start, not what she would have wanted, but she's in 5th place right now and she's still getting some pretty good championship points as Logan Cousins sets the fast lap of the race of 49.214. So Logan Cousins just behind the leading two. Cruelly has some pace, but there's Sebastian Kieslowski, also won the race this year at the first rounds whenever he was battling away with Taylor Tomlinson. He was the only man that could take it to him. But 5 laps to go in this race and Seth Hayward still leads. Seth Hayward sets the fast lap of the race now with a 48.8, the only rider in the 48s.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot to separate this top 3. However, anything can happen here in the minimoto rookies, as we see Annabelle McCarthy now having a look at Preston Baker in a fight for 4th place.
Yeah, now we can see Taylor Tomlinson trying. He's right on the back, but right in the back of Taylor Tomlinson is Logan Cousins. Logan Cousins is right there and on his tail, and it looks like he's trying to make a move. He's so aggressive, Taylor Tomlinson. But Taylor Tomlinson, it's worked this year for him so far. He has been his own enemy at some point, but there he is right now trying everything, trying to bridge the gap with Seth Hayward. He's got to the point now where they're both setting 48.7, so Logan Cousins is slightly faster, half a tenth faster than the two boys in front of him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 4 laps to go in this race as Taylor Tomlinson seems to be having a look at Seth Hayward as they go towards the hairpin with 4 laps to go. Can he make a move? No. Logan Cousins is going to look around the outside of Taylor Tomlinson, trying to get a better exit from the hairpin as they go towards the horseshoe, but nowhere through at the moment.
Yeah, Seth Hayward is still leading now. He's just trying to get rid of this final corner and come across the line, which will mean it's just 3 laps to go in this race. Can Seth Hayward get his first win of the year? It's been tricky conditions all weekend, but now they're approaching back markers. Now it's a case of when will you get and hit the back markers? Will you get them at a good spot, or will you meet them halfway for a corner? We see now they're just trying to get past. They've got through 2, but they have another one. Seth Hayward dives down the inside through the back markers. So is Taylor Tomlinson. Will they catch any at the S's? No, they will not. So now it's a real game of when and who will hit the back markers.
Yeah, no, phenomenal evasive action as we have Taylor Tomlinson looking down the inside into the hairpin. A tighter line for Taylor Tomlinson, but no way through as Logan Cousins is now going to have a look at Taylor Tomlinson as they come up to another back marker with 3 laps to go. There is nothing to separate this front 3. Seth Hayward has done a fantastic job so far keeping the lead of this race, but what can Taylor Tomlinson do to find a way through?
Yeah, Taylor Tomlinson setting the fast lap of the race that time round for 48.4. Lap times are dropping every single lap, and Seth Hayward still leads the way, still manages to lead, but Logan Cousins still there to pick up all the scraps. All 3 riders at the front, slightly slower this time round due to the back markers, but 2 laps to go in this race. Anything is possible. Any one of these top 3 can win it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As Logan Cousins seems to have a bit of a moment there through the S's, which might give Tomlinson a bit of space to risk making a move and keep second if it doesn't go to plan as they go down into the hairpin now. And we have had some technical difficulties as we watch them go towards the horseshoe with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Taylor Tomlinson now still on the back of Seth Hayward, and Seth Hayward is trying everything. Seth Hayward, though, he's not looking too flustered. He's still doing his own lines, and as we see, the number 12, the Archie Hooper, 2 crashes in race 2 this morning.
Yeah, no, he's definitely having a better result so far up in P8 as we watch the front 3 come across the line to go onto the final lap of this race. Nothing to separate them still 3 wide towards turn 1, but no way through for Taylor Tomlinson so far. Seth Hayward is planting his bike in all the right places, but does Taylor Tomlinson have anything special up his sleeve? He's got a much better exit out of the S's here as they go towards the hairpin. Is he going to lunge down the inside? no, he's not. No, he's not. Logan Cousins went very deep in the background there, but still a tighter exit. Will Logan Cousins make a move on Taylor Tomlinson? Here's Taylor Tomlinson, goes down the inside of Seth Hayward in the final sector. Logan Cousins there to pick up the straps. Seth Hayward now back on the inside on the penultimate corner. Is Taylor Tomlinson going to lunge it into the final corner though? Yes, he is, side by side. Nearly clips Seth Hayward, but Seth Hayward has kept the place as they come across the line to finish this absolutely phenomenal race as Logan Cousins picks up P2 from Taylor Tomlinson. What a race that was.
Yes, Seth Hayward and Taylor Tomlinson clipped each other on that final corner. There's a bit of contact, caused Taylor Tomlinson to have to back out of it. Seth Hayward said, I've been leaning all this race, I'm just going to lean in, and if you don't back out, we're going to crash. And that's what he had to do, he just had to back out. But Seth Hayward commands him race from 2 attempts. He did not feel the pressure at all, and that's great to see. Logan Cousins coming home in second place with Taylor Tomlinson rounded off the podium, and great result. Annabelle McCarthy dropping back to 6th place, but Sebastian Gieslowski actually in 4th. Great ride from him and made up some valuable positions in that race.
Yeah, no, another fantastic race, Lewis. We have had brilliant action all day from every single category, and yeah, no, this was no exception for the AC40 rookies.
Yeah, it's been a great race for them. It's been a great race for Seth Hayward. As we've said, it was just such a great result from him, and he of course wins the race with Logan Cousins coming home in 2nd place. Taylor Tomlinson gets 3rd, Sebastian Gieslowski 4th, Preston Baker 5th, Annabelle McCarthy, as I said, dropping down 6th place. Archie Hooper, who had a disappointing race too, picks up a 7th place with Tyler Hartley getting 8th. Max Johnson 9th with Nicholas Dunwoody rounding out the top 10. So great race, great conditions now at Clay Pigeon. I mean, you can just see on your picture there's a slight breeze with the flags, but the sun's out, the track's bone dry now.
Yeah, no, there doesn't appear to be any damp patches or puddles at all.
So yeah, now we wait and see what's going to happen with this next race that we have coming up.
So here we are for the 3rd race of the Moto team here at FAB-Racing at Clay Pigeon Raceway. We've had 2 great races here so far, so this round is proving to be exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we've had everything. We've had change ball conditions. We've had battles for a race lead. We've even had drama before and after the race. There's every single thing that's happened in across all classes, including Moto team. Moto team, we've had battles for the race lead. We've had Darren Aronson and Will Howarth battling once again for the race win.
As you can also see the number 1 of Jay King at the front of your picture there. You can see a bit of damage on the front of his motorcycle. That's because he came off after the race earlier on.
Yeah, he does, and it's great to see him back out there and great to see him still using them fairings, so clearly the bike wasn't damaged that bad, as we see the Queen flag for the Jubilee flying proud in the air here at Clay Pigeon. So riders head on to the dummy grid before the warm-up lap.
Yeah, we had a fantastic battle between Darren Anderson and Will Howarth earlier on today, with Will Howarth eventually winning race 2. So we should see if Darren Anderson can pick up the win this race.
Yeah, we're just waiting for final checks to be done before the riders head out on the warm up, which has now just started. And of course, it'll be Darren Anderson who lines up on pole position after setting a 42.739 in qualifying with Will Howarth, his sparring partner alongside him. Jack Andrews, who's got quite a busy weekend, also racing Extreme 200s, and I believe the Pit Lite 140s will be starting 3rd. Jason Pugh will be starting 4th place. Ian Jackson 5th. Jamie King, as we mentioned, crashed after the race finished in race 2. Will be starting 6th, with Philip Joyce 7th, and Scott Druitt 8th, and Jamie Diss 9th, with Madison Martlew rounding out the top 10 of this race and the grid for this race. Although it's such a small grid, I mean, there's only 10 bikes, not that much compared to some other classes. It produces some excellent racing, and we've seen it, especially from the front 2. Just battles all the way down the field. Actually, we've all seen Jason Pugh fighting, but there is a rider making their way out the pit lane. That I believe it is Philip Joyce just joining the joined the grid late and just didn't have that warm-up lap. Maybe came a bit late to race, but this is perfect conditions for racing as we wait for the riders to do the final checks, wait for the final riders, we point to the lights, we wait for the lights going, lights are on and lights are off, and we are racing, and Will Howarth cannot get that bike into the power band. It's Darren Anderson who leads the way with Jason Pugh right on his tail, and Jamie King in third place in a podium position, but Will Howarth could not get a bike into the power band. Will Howarth, of course, on that two-stroke, he may have just dropped the clutch a bit too early. On these bikes, you have to drag out the clutch for so long, it's ridiculous on the two-strokes, that if you let go too early, you bog down and have no power. So that's exactly what's happened there, but now he's got the bike singing and dancing again and already up into what is third place.
Yeah, horrendous start for Will Howarth, but he has the pace to challenge for the lead, so I don't doubt that we will see him close that gap to Jason Pugh, currently at the front of the pack.
Yeah, Darren Anderson at the front of the pack though with a 45.2 right now, 4/10 of a second gap from Jason Pugh. Jason Pugh looks like he's on the attack though. It's great seeing Jason Pugh like this. It looks like he's trying everything possible. Jamie King right now in a fierce scrap with Ian Jackson and Ian Jackson, Jack Andrews and Ian Jackson right now going into the hairpin, showing Jamie King around this track right now, but Jamie King is going to want to try and make a move, of course. It looks like Jason Pugh actually has made a slight mistake, and now it's Will Howarth that's went round the outside of him. Will Howarth leaded into second place from Jason Pugh and won the road to go and chase Darren Anderson.
Yeah, despite his horrendous start, Will Howarth is already back through to P2, which we probably should have expected. He has a surplus of pace on that 98 machine. Will he be able to challenge Darren Anderson as they come into the S's? He's already closed the gap phenomenally as they go out onto the back straight for the second time, going it down towards the hairpin, looking to the outside. He toyed with him last race. Will he toy with him this race, Lewis?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. Will Howarth, it looks like he's trying everything he can already, but he may just be trying to show his front wheel, just try build up pressure on Darren Anderson until Darren Anderson makes a mistake. If he makes a mistake, Darren Anderson can be a really cool head. He knows what it's like as Darren Anderson almost high sides coming out the final corner, big moment onto the curb, and that's let Will Howarth through, and Will Howarth into the lead of the race, and that has affected Darren Anderson highly. I mean, his lap time there was a second slower than the lap previous, so it just shows how much time and how much speed difference that made with the moment.
Yeah, no, Darren Anderson doesn't seem to be overly confident on that machine anymore, as Will Howarth now has the lead with 9 laps to go. Will he be able to check out from here, or does Darren Anderson have an answer for him as they go into the horseshoe?
Yeah, this of course is the race 3, the last race of the weekend for these riders, the last chance to show themselves around this Clay Pigeon circuit. Otherwise they're going to have to wait a whole year to come back here and race. So yeah, the battle between Jamie King and Jack Andrews is still going on. 9 laps. We've seen this last race. They are so close and they have some great racing, but it looks like Ian Jackson has bridged the gap between himself and Jack Andrews.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As Will Howarth sets the fastest lap of the race with a 41.396. It's 4/10 quicker than Darren Anderson in second, but Jason Pugh 3.2 seconds behind the lead as well. So gaps are starting to open out in front, but there is still a brilliant battle between Jamie King and Jack Andrews.
Yeah, Will Howarth now leading them by 1.6 seconds. That's Jason Pugh with some sort of issue, or he has had a moment there. It looks like he's trying to get the bike into neutral before he can push it out and get started and get back into this race, because of course 7 bike fields left in this race right now, so it's the chance to get points on the board. Jason Pugh is having such a good run as he gets lapped now by Will Howarth, as Will Howarth has a 2.9 second lead that time round. He was 1.9 seconds quicker than Darren Anderson, so Will Howarth commanding lead right now. 7 laps to go in this race. Can he keep it up, or will he make a mistake?
Yeah, no, Will Howarth showing the pace that he has given us teasers of this weekend so far. Obviously, we've had some very tricky conditions in the other 2 races, so this is the first time that we have got an honest representation of the pace that these guys have out on track, and it looks like Will Howarth has taken this race by the horns and will dominate till the end.
Yeah, 6 laps go till the end, though anything can happen, and Will Howarth still leads the way now by 4.3 seconds. Ian Jackson, third place, a very, very respectable third place, as the battle between Jack Andrews and Jamie King still rages on. But it's a slightly bigger gap now. Jamie King 1.9 seconds behind, so maybe it's just his injuries as he starts getting towards the end of the day, he starts getting a bit more tired. maybe making a bit more mistakes and just tired in general. But it's Will Howarth. There's nothing more to say about this man. He's dominant, but Jamie King, very respectable, even the fact he's out here racing this weekend.
Absolutely. As Ian Jackson set a personal best last time round, can he challenge Darren Anderson towards the end of this race? Obviously, Jason Pugh's incident has given Ian Jackson P3.
Yeah, Jamie King, of course, new helmet this weekend, as I said, from his crash at Ella Park. He's running a new LS2 helmet. It's a new carbon fibre helmet that he has got help and sponsored by from Oliver Hall. So it's great to see LS2 helmets involved in FAB, of course, with the Mini GP70 title sponsor being LS2 helmets. So it's great to see a company come into the FAB and help so many riders out. So Will Howarth right now still leading the way by 6 seconds as Jamie King takes his battered and bruised bike and body round the track for another 5 laps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very admirable to be out there on that bike, especially after the injuries that he sustained last round and the crash he had earlier on today, of course.
Yeah, of course, and it was after the race, so he got the race result. But you can still see a slight damp patch there at the edge of the track, but not on the racing line, so shouldn't affect them at all. They'll know to stay away from that, and that's why most of the track is nice and dry now. It's just the different lines that riders take around the track. That's a great thing about Clay Pigeon, is the amount of different lines you can take. And in the motor team class, of course, we have 2 classes. We have the open class and we have the standard class. And in the standard class, heading into the round, Jamie King was leading the way, and he wants to win the championship once again. Of course, last year's champion. And in the open championship, Will Howarth leads the championship after, well, what was an incredible last round for him. I mean, he started at the back of the pack, and some, as we see Ian Jackson getting round Philip Joyce, just lapping him and getting past with no issues caused with just 3 laps to go in this race.
As the sun is coming out of Clay Pigeon, Will Howarth making a little bit of a mistake there in the hairpin, but that is not going to trouble him with an 8.6 second gap to Darren Anderson last time round. It looks like it's been an assured ride. He is so confident and comfortable out there on that 98 machine as he rounds the final corner to start his next lap of this race with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, it's been a great race so far from Will Howarth. He gets past more lap traffic, I believe that may be Madsen Martlew just trying to get the bike home in 8th place. And yeah, it looks like Will Howarth just throwing the bike about. He's so confident. It's so great to see with a rider so much confidence in the bike. We've seen last lap round the hairpin, a slight bobble on the front end, a slight moment, running him slightly wide, but it's not affected him this lap. He got it absolutely perfect, and now he's trying to stretch out the gap from 2nd place from Darren Anderson to over 10 seconds.
And of course, to take his second win this weekend, it looked at the start of the weekend like Darren Anderson had the upper hand over Will Howarth in the rain. However, in this drier final race, Will Howarth has proven that he has a surplus of pace over anyone else. As we go on to the final lap of the race, Will Howarth going down into turn 1 now, so confident on that motorcycle as he comes into the S's. No puddles on the inside anymore as he glides through there without a care in the world, going down to the hairpin, keeping it comfy, keeping it easy as he exits the hairpin very, very confidently. Coming around the horseshoe, he has taken this race by the horns. He has dominated from start to finish despite having a horrendous start himself. He's had to make his way to the front of the pack, and he's done that. And he has broken an 11-second gap to Darren Anderson as he comes round the final corner to round Blind Billy's for the last time this weekend and take the win in the 3rd race at this Moto team round.
Yeah, well, Howarth, dominant performance once again, and the real question is, what is the gap going to be between him and Darren Anderson as we wait for Darren Anderson to cross the line to come home in 2nd place? And it's a 12.785 second gap. Well, Howarth dominated it. Maybe Darren Anderson, after having that moment, after saving that high side coming out the final corner, he decided, think about championship points, just get them in the bag. It is the 4th round now. They can come back at round 5 at Wilton Mill and come back stronger, because that is the Moto team's last race of the weekend. It's Will Howarth who wins it in a dominant fashion from Darren Anderson, and Ian Jackson rounding off the podium of Jack Andrews after what was a great battle of Jamie King, just like last race, coming home in 4th, Jamie King 5th. Jason Pugh, after having the bike issues or some sort of issue and having to get the bike restarted, came home in 6th place, and Philip Joyce 7th, with Madison Martlow DNF in that race, in the final race of the weekend.
Yeah, what a fantastic Moto team race that was. Darren Anderson won't be too pleased with that, but Will Howarth will have a smile on his face in the paddock. But still, great to be on the podium for Darren Anderson and Ian Jackson, as we have the top 10 of Will Howarth, from Darren Anderson, from Ian Jackson, from Jack Andrews, from Jamie King, from Jason Pugh, from Philip Joyce.
And next up, we will have the LC40 Elites Race 3, the final junior minimoto race of the weekend, and it's the final chance for these riders to be out on track and the final chance to win for the final time of the weekend. So all pressure is on. The sun's out, though. It's beautiful conditions for these riders. You can see Oliver Hall in the background and his dad warming up that rear tyre before they head out onto the grid for what is going to be a great race.
Yeah, no, these guys will have a completely different approach to this race that they had to take to the earlier races this weekend, because this is the driest the track's been for these guys. Obviously, some of these riders also taking part in other categories, having some experience on the dry clay pigeon track, as we line up on the grid to get ready for this warm-up lap.
Yeah, we just wait for the riders to head onto the warm-up lap, and I believe Sam Gardner should be on the grid, but I do not see him at all. Maybe he might be a late starter, but currently it looks like no Sam Gardner on the grid. So big shock to the front row, and big shock, I think, to Byron Johnson, who of course will start in pole position. I mean, it should be a great race, and Byron Johnson of course starting in pole position with Sam Gardner, who should be alongside him, with Harrison Day 3rd. Austin Johnson rounds off 2nd row and 4th, with Jensen Bishop 5th and Matthew Thomas on the bright green. It's so distinct. Bike is starting in 6th place, Liam Lindquist in 7th, Chloe Gleason in 8th, Callum Maxwell 9th, Oliver Hall, who we've just seen warming up that rear tyre, in 10th, George Ackerman 11th, and Dylan Turry rounds off what is quite short, but it produces some excellent racing in this grid.
Yeah, no, big shock not to have Sam Gardner on the grid. That is a big surprise for everyone out there. Byron Johnson may have his nerves settled a little with that one, because essentially he'll have his brother alongside him now, just in the position, the 4th position slot. So we await to see what happens in this LC40 Elite mini moto race.
Yeah, this of course, I mean, Austin Johnson has a clear track in front of him and is able just to go for it, not have to worry about anyone in front of him making a bad start or having to avoid anyone in case of their bike engine stops or anything along them lines. But Byron Johnson will be starting pole position. He will be getting ready to go. He will be getting ready to look at the lights before they go off for the final race of the weekend for the LC40 Elites, as we wait for the start marshal to clear everyone off the grid. Before then, all the riders now turn to the lights, look up it, they go on, and they go off, and we go race. And Byron Johnson, what a start! But it's Harrison Day drops back to 3rd. His brother Austin, it's Austin 1-2, with Byron showing Austin the way leading into turn 1. Byron Johnson now into the S's. Will he get a nice drive, or will Austin straight away try and get past his brother? Harrison Day right now having to defend straight away from Matthew Thomas, who's got a good pace. Austin Johnson dives down the inside of his brother Byron. Now Austin, the older brother, leads the way, tries to show his younger brother around the circuit. It's still a Johnson 1-2 by the other way around.
Yeah, no, Harrison Day got an amazing initial launch, but just lost it on the getaway. As yes, we have Austin Johnson into P1 from the 4th grid slot. Everything he needed to do on this first lap, he has done. Can he defend from his brother now for the rest of the race?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait to see. Austin, of course, on that liquid cooled bike, while his brother Byron is on the air cooled minimoto. So Byron in a straight line is slightly disadvantaged, but Austin of course is slightly taller than his brother, so also does have a straight line deficit in that way. But in talking about the bikes themselves, Austin's on the faster motorcycle, but it's all about the turns in this track. I mean, look how technical this part of the circuit is. It's hairpin into hairpin into a long sweeping right-hander. So Austin Johnson right now, he needs to use his head, and so does this man here, Harrison Day. He's having to defend from Matthew Thomas. Matthew Thomas going into the weekend said he wanted a 2nd place. He's still on route right now to get a podium.
As we do have a spicy battle heating up for P3 between Matthew Thomas and Harrison Day. What can Matthew Thomas do to try and get himself on at that podium? He's following Harrison Day. Brown Blind Billy's into turn 1, tucked into the back of him right now. Can he think about making a move towards the S's? No, he can't. As they go through the S's now, can he set himself up down the the back straight towards the hairpin.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. But Harrison Day with 7 laps to go. He's doing everything to defend, but it's still Johnson 1-2. Austin Johnson still leads the way. Last time round is an 8/10 of a second gap, and the fastest lap of the race with a 44.1, which is a pretty respectable lap time. And actually, we see that Harrison Day is in a pretty extreme battle right now with Matthew Thomas. Matthew Thomas trying to find any way past. We see that Matthew Thomas loves this left kink in the front straight. He loves to try to stick his bike up the inside there, so that's definitely a place to watch, because it's so difficult to line up and move into turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. As Matthew Thomas is now having a look into the S's, similar gap to how we had it last time round, but there is not a lot to separate these two as they go towards the hairpin. Harrison Day still retains P3, but Matthew Thomas is certainly a threat.
Yeah, Austin Johnson certainly a threat to everyone in this race still, though he leads the way by 1.3 seconds now, putting in fastest lap after fastest lap now. 6 laps to go. Can he keep it up, or will he have an issue? Or his brother Byron, will he be able just to find something new, find something different in this? But Matthew Thomas is trying to find something new around that last corner, trying a different line, ended up in the curve, which lost straight line speed, and now it's like Harrison Day kind of bridge a gap going into that front straight. But now Matthew Thomas is on this lap to make it up through the corners.
Yeah, no, exactly. These riders have to experiment with new lines, otherwise they might not find pace that is there, you know. So Harrison Day squirrely through the S's, but no, Matthew Thomas still can't capitalise on that. So we're going to have 5 laps to go and a battle for the third spot on the podium.
Yeah, Austin Johnson once again since the fast lap, but it was like Harrison Day went wide at the horseshoe there, which may allow Matthew Thomas just to get a slightly better drive. There's Oliver Hull in a battle right now. Jenson Bishop trying his hardest to catch up to Oliver Hull, last year's rookie champion, but Austin Johnson came across the line once again to set another fastest lap with a 43.8 that time round, a 1.9 second lead as well. Quite commanding lead, but Oliver Hull right now has no lead over Jenson Bishop. Jenson Bishop is trying to find the anyway passes on the outside of the track there towards turn 1. Looks like there's another damp patch, so all riders trying to stay clear of that. But it looks like Oliver Hull right now is under real threat going into the hairpin. Jenson Bishop trying to line up a move, tried to tuck in every single part of his body, cannot make it work, tries to go wider, sweeping line, tries to carry more corner speed, try to line up a move down the inside at the horseshoe. Will it work? No, it will not. Oliver Hull cuts off his front wheel and says, no, you cannot. 3 laps to go in this race now.
Yeah, that's compromised Jenson Bishop as well, who has lost a bit more time to Oliver Hull as they come into the final corner. Can Jenson Bishop find a way through this time round, going on to the start-finish straight? Round 5 Billies they come now, and it appears to be too much of a challenge for Jenson Bishop to make a move into turn 1.
Yeah, Oliver Hull trying everything to defend. This is the battle for 5th place right now, the top 5 position. It means so much as a rider to get into the top 5 where it's such a challenging grid. But this is for the final podium position. Matthew Thomas wants this. Matthew Thomas wants this podium this weekend. But Harrison Day, he wants to put a stop to that. Harrison Day would love nothing more than getting that podium over Matthew. But Austin Johnson still leads the way by 2 seconds now. But all eyes are on this battle for 3rd and battle for 5th. It's close racing all the way down the field as it looks like Matthew Thomas is trying to dive down the inside, but once again it's so difficult to make a move through turn 1 as Harrison Day shuts the door once again, and through the S's they go, and now it looks like Matthew Thomas is trying to make a move through the hairpins. We wait to see them come around the hairpin, and it does not look like they can make it work. It looks like the gap has slightly widened.
Matthew Thomas knows that this is the time to make a move as these riders come through the final sector of the penultimate lap to go into the final lap of the race. Matthew Thomas has a look up the inside, but still no way through on Harrison Day. Austin Johnson sets another fastest lap of the race with a 43.6. Austin Johnson has been commanding out there with a 3.2 second gap to his brother Byron as he comes through the S's for the final time. He looks so comfortable on that machine as we watch his brother come through the shot now. Coming towards the hairpin now, Austin Johnson easing it through the corner. Looks so confident, so comfortable there, riding the 27 machine into the horseshoe for the final time and into the final sector as he comes round the penultimate corner now. Going towards the final corner, still damp patches on the track, so he still has has to be careful as he comes into the final corner to come round the final corner on a lap. That was such a brilliant drive as he comes across the line to win this LC40 Elite minimoto race. What a commanding ride that was. And Matthew Thomas still hasn't found a way past Harrison Day, who will come third to finish out the podium.
Yeah, Austin Johnson, once again, that final lap setting the fastest lap of the race, so he'll be absolutely delighted with that. He set so many fastest laps. I mean, it was just an incredible performance. As soon as he got in front of his brother Byron, who finished in second place, there was nothing stopping them. And Harrison Day getting that final podium position after what was a great ride and great defending from him, and great to see from such a young rider. As you see the riders right now celebrating, giving each other handshakes and a little wave on the cool down laps, because there's nothing more than these riders love than a good race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Another commanding race from the Johnson brothers. Can anyone out there take the P1 and P2 slot? There isn't these boys. What another brilliant ride, as we have a full rundown of P1. We had Austin Johnson, Byron Johnson in P2, Harrison Day in P3, Matthew Thomas in P4, Oliver Hall in P5 with Jensen Bishop in P6, George Ackerman in P7 with Dylan Tureen and Callum Maxwell finishing in 8th and 9th.
Yeah, you can just see the celebrations going into the paddock now. Harrison Day getting greeted with smiles and hugs and pats on the backs and high fives as well. You can just see how much it means to them to get that final podium position in what was the final junior minimoto race of the weekend.
Welcome to the grid of the Mini F1 Sidecars Race 3. We have had a phenomenal weekend of racing in the Mini F1 Sidecars. Lewis, can I get your opinions on the racing so far?
Yeah, it's been exactly what we expected today with McWilliams winning, but we had a shocker yesterday. McWilliams getting a third place, ending the win streak. It's all we've been able to talk about in the sidecar class. It was such a big event, but Keats had a moment in the first race today and had a spin which made the bike stop, it made the motor stop, and then they had to push it to get it going again, but still managed to pick up some points, because although the sidecar grid's not big, it produces some great racing. And once again, I think all the story is going to be about the green streets wanting to try and catch McWilliams, but now conditions are perfect.
It's also worth noting that the green streets were closer to Mick Williams than what we have seen at some other rounds this season, and that was still on a pretty damp track. So what can Mick Williams do now on a completely bone dry circuit with only a couple puddles lining the track? Can the green streets provide a challenge for Mick Williams, or will it be a simple ride?
We're just going to have to wait and find out, because McWilliams is lined up on that front row of the grid alongside Green Street. It's such a great field that we have here. I mean, McWilliams starting in pole position with Green Streets, and Jacob Keats starting in third position, who we've seen, and we always see such great riding and moments, and so exciting to watch are the Keats. Vince Bailey starting in fourth with Mark Parker in fifth. John Hosker, who we talked about at the start of the weekend with the fairing that he picked out of the bin, literally starting sixth place and still have some incredible pacing. Chris Impey rounds off the grid in seventh.
Yeah, no, we had a fantastic battle last race between Chris Impey and John Hosker, so we're going to have to see if they can provide some excellent entertainment again on a drier track.
Yeah, we're just going to wait and find out as the riders head round this final turn to the grid for what will be their final race of the weekend. Of course, this is their second race after lunch. After some delays, we've had more races after lunch than was expected, so these riders have not had too long to wait for this final race.
So here we go, guys. The Mini F1 sidecars are lining up on the grid for the final time this weekend, as we see the Green Streets driving up to the second place grid slot. The Keats in P3 with Vince Bailey in P4 there. We are waiting for the marshal to point to the lights to get this race underway. Watch John Hosker come and line up in his grid slot at the back there with his very underperforming fairing. As we point to the lights are on. The lights are off. That's a great start from the Green Streets. Though Mick Williams with a dreadful start. The Keats couldn't quite make their way through, but the Green Streets into P1 for turn one. That's the exact start that they would have wanted to see. Can Mick Williams find a way past? As that's the Keats on two wheels going around the outside, and they go across the grass to make the move through the S's. As that's Mick Williams now on the outside of the Green Streets into the hairpin, and the Green Streets make contact. And no, they've damaged their sidecar.
Yeah, it looks like Green Street just made some contact, potentially of the passenger, and just had to back up. And now the Keats are on 2 wheels. The passenger is up in the air, and now you can see the sidecars. It's a group of 6 sidecars all battling out for one position. And now it is really what we get to see. Mick Williams is off into the distance, and now the question is who is going to get second place, because Keats have dropped all the way back to what is 6th place right now. And they go on the grass there. They walk up the rear wheel, they spin, they have to avoid Chris Impey, and so does John Hosker, whose sidecar has stopped in trying to avoid the incident with Keats. These riders trying absolutely everything to avoid the incident, but in all this, Mick Williams is off into the distance, as now we see Vince Bailey in 2nd place with the Green Streets behind.
Yeah, no, Mick Williams eventually breaking away after a fantastic move around the outside of the Green Streets into the hairpin, and then everything else kicked off as we see the Green Streets trying to make a move now on Vince Bailey into the final corner. We've just been informed that race control are having a look at the riding standards simply because of how much chaos there has been. We had the Keats across the grass on numerous occasions, as we see them now going around the final corner on the curb. A battle of 3 here for P4.
Yeah, you can just see some slight smoke coming out. Chris Impey maybe a bit fearing, rubbing against the rear wheel, but this Keats going around the outside as Chris Impey practically pushes them off the track. You can see more smoke coming from the rear of their bike, but now the Keats are trying absolutely everything, getting their bodies as low to the ground and getting all the body weight brought over to the other side of the sidecars. Keats tries to go round the outside, they get the undercut, and they made it work past Impey. Impey does not know what to do, but now it looks like the Keats is off into the distance as Chris Impey is now under pressure from what is Mark Parker.
Yeah, what fantastic racing we've seen in this mini F1 sidecar series this weekend. It hasn't stopped now, as the Keats have been giving us all the entertainment up on 2 wheels, making overtakes left, right and centre, as we see a battle now in the background.
Yeah, Chris Impey and Mark Parker. Mark Parker trying to find any way past right now. They're going through into the first corner. Mark Parker taking a far more wider line, trying to carry more corner speed. The MPs know that they're there. They have a little look behind. You can still see that smoke, the bit of fear, and rubbing against the rear tyre. And now it's the Green Streets trying to get past Vince Bailey. Vince Bailey still in that 2nd place, and the Green Streets trying absolutely everything. And once again, it's the sidecars been stealing the show. And now once again, the Green Streets going down the inside, but they cannot make it work. And Chris Impey now having a battle with Mark Parker. And now this battle between these two are letting John Hosker, who of course span at the start of the race, catch up again.
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic race. There's almost too much to watch as we see the Green Streets stalking Vince Bailey down towards turn 1. Can that blue machine find a way through, or will Vince Bailey be able to defend for the final 3 laps of this race? As they come into the S's, the Green Streets kick out their rear end with their GoPros on their car. As they go towards the hairpin, there doesn't seem to be a chance to make a move.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Impey now. Yeah, you can see it. John Hosker has caught up, and now he's trying absolutely everything. Keep in mind, at the start of the race, they span their bike stalled. They got it started again, and now they're here. Green Street is now pushing on as hard as they can. 3 laps to win this race. Green Street's in 3rd place right now, and Vince Bailey is just inches in front of them, but the battle is still raging on for Chris Impey right now. Chris Impey is trying to defend absolutely everything, but the Green Streets are needing to push on now if they want that 2nd place. But in all this action, Mick Williams is now 10.8 seconds up the road.
Yeah, no, we've got the Mick Williams dominance that we've seen prior in this season back, as that is John Hosker trying to make a move now on Chris Impey as they go round towards turn 1. Has he got the place? And that's the Green Streets now having a look to the outside of Vince Bailey, coming into the hairpin with 2 laps to go. Can he make a move here into the horseshoe? No, he loses momentum on the exit, but he tries to take a tighter line, not quite way through, but he's on the outside on the exit of the horseshoe. This turns into another right-hander, so they've got the move on the left. What a move from the Green Streets.
Yeah, and now once again it's Mick Williams that crosses the line, heading on to what will be the final lap of what has been an incredible 3 sidecar races. The sidecars really have been one of the best classes to watch this weekend. I take my hat off to every single one of these passengers and every single one of these riders. It's been so impressive to watch, and the Green Streets now are past Vince Bailey into 2nd place, into where we usually see them in that 2nd place position. But can Vince Bailey do anything? but it looks like it's all done and dusty for the race when this Chris MP right now is now trying to defend for Mark Parker for what is 6th place right now. You can still see some slight smoke coming out of Chris MP's bike, but it looks to be all okay for just one more lap as McWilliams comes round the final corner to come round to finish the final race of the weekend for what has been 3 incredible races for the Mini F1 Sidecars. McWilliams wins once again, and it's been a great race, and Jason Greenstreet should come home in 2nd and Vince Bailey in 3rd, but it's all not decided just yet. You can see MP telling them to get moved on, keep going, push on, because Mark Parker is right behind them for what is 6th place right now, the battle for 6th. But now we're just waiting. McWilliams won the race, and now MP's celebrating as Mark Parker can do nothing about it as they come across the line for what was once again an incredible sidecar race.
Yeah, dominant performance again from Mick Williams, returning to the form that we've seen earlier this season, and that's the Keats. The Keats have slowed down after the line. The Keats are coming to a stop.
Yeah, maybe it was like Keats going very, very slow in his final lap, but the bike is still running, we can still hear, so yeah, great performance. We're waiting for the crowd, so great result from McWilliams once again.
Yeah, we've also been informed that race control are having a look at the Keats racing style as John Hosker there in the middle of your shot, the number 127. What a phenomenal ride from him after a spin at turn 1 with a fairing they found from the bin, Lewis.
Yeah, it was something that was incredible, to be honest. Great result from the Hoskers and great result for the Keats. Although there was some questionable moves, it was aggressive to say the least. It was exciting racing, and I think all these sidecar guys are going to come back to the pits and have a laugh about this, because the past couple of rounds, to be honest, the sidecars have been one of the duller classes that we have here, but now this weekend they have shown us how amazing the racing can be.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's inspired by how good a track the Clay Pigeon Raceway actually is. So to round off the grid, we have Mick Williams in P1 with Jason Greenstreet in P2. We have Vince Bailey in P3 with the Keats in P4. John Hosker in P5 with Chris Impey in P6. And Mark Parker filling out the grid in P7.
Yeah, it's highly impressive. And of course, if you want to see more of the Mini F1 sidecar action, we are there. You'll see it more in a couple of weeks' time at Wilton Mill at the end of July. So please join us then if you want to see more sidecars. But please stay with us, if we still have 3 more race frees to go, and the next one is something else.
Yeah.
And next up we have race 3 of the senior minimotos, and I've just been told something that's put a big smile on my face. Bernie Hook, Mr. Minimoto, is apparently racing in the senior minimoto race, won many championships, and came out of retirement, and it is confirmed that Bernie Hook will be starting in last place because he did not take part in qualifying yesterday. So great to hear, and now they head out on their warm-up lap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in P1 we have Will Howarth, who set a 42.968 in qualifying, followed by Craig Ashall, Josh Birkin in P3 with Matt Birkin in P4, Nick Bennett in P5 and Chris Yeomans in P6, Reece Gentry in P7 with Callum White in P8, Elliot Searle in P9 with Ross Michael in P10, Alberto Venteo, who has had some issues this weekend so far, in P11, Shannon King in P12 with Lamar Morgan in P13, Duncan Diper in P14 with David Mayat in P15, Jerome Richards in P16, and Rob Gentry and Paul Bayliss filling out the back row.
Yeah, so we wait for these riders to come to the end of their warm-up laps, and Bernie Hook is back. We've been talking to them for many rounds, telling them to return to FAB, come out of retirement and show these boys how it's done, and now we finally get to see it. Although he's starting from the back of the grid, he may not appear in live timing and on your timing screens because they're struggling at race control just to get him on our boards, but there he is. He'll roll into last place, although he won't be at the front to be able to battle with the like of the Birkin brothers. We're still going to get to see him back, and hopefully for what is going to be an amazing ride.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For sure going to be another fantastic race in the senior mini motos. Will we see another good battle between the Birkin brothers? Will we see Josh and Matt Birkin in first and second, as we've seen it twice this weekend so far? So here we go for the final round of this senior mini motor as lights are out and away we go. That's a brilliant start from Will Howarth as he takes the lead. Craig Ashall, another poor start as that is Josh Birkin into P2. Craig Ashall cements P3 for the best start he's had this weekend so far. Down into the S's they come for the first time. Very clean start from all of the boys out on track, but Will Howarth seems to have the lead cemented.
Yeah, Will Howarth right now, straight away dominant performance. Will Howarth, of course, just been out in the Moto team class, so he has extra track time, extra knowledge. These boys, last time they were out, it was iffy conditions for these senior mini motos, but now it is back to full dry conditions. Will Howarth knows that straight from lap 1, he can push, he can go, and he can put in the lap straight away. Well, Craig Ashall and Josh and Matt Birkins may just take 1 or 2 laps to get used to the conditions.
But remember, the Birkin brothers have been incredibly competitive this weekend. Can they mount a challenge towards Will Howarth, who has been dominant in this class in the past? But here we have the Birkin brothers going into the S's, pretty close on track as we normally see. This Matt Birkin behind, going down towards the hairpin. Can he launch a move on his brother? Not yet. Will they work together to catch Will Howarth?
Yeah, I do not think so, to be honest. The Birkin brothers, they just love setting up each other and having a laugh with each other. It's the most fun is just diving up each other in racing and just having a laugh with your mates. But Will Howarth right now leads the way in a dominant performance so far. You can see the Birkins having a look behind him. Josh having a little look, seeing that Matt's there. Matt tries to go around the outside. It's not going to work. He tries then to take a far more sweeping line and just try and carry more corner speed. That's all which matters on these senior bikes, is just try as much corner speed as possible. As Matt dives down the inside of Josh and makes the move work into second place.
Can Matt Birkin keep this momentum going forward and make a move on Will Howarth though? He seems to have a good run on the back straight as we watch the S's, and
that's Bernie Hook right now in the silver levers. Number 85 is so great to see him into 7th place right now already from the back of the grid, showing these youngsters how it's done. Mr. Minimoto is back.
Yeah, phenomenal so far from the rider, and we have Will Howarth in P1 at the moment. Matt Birkin up into P2 with a 2/10 gap between the two of them.
Yeah, right now Rhys Gentry and Bernie Hook having a battle as they come across the line to make it 6 laps to go for them. And Bernie Hook right now, it's been a great ride. It's great to see him back racing here at Clay Pigeon, and hopefully we'll see him return for a couple rounds, even for a full round, so we can see him get a fair race from the front. But right now he is having a fair race with Rhys Gentry, a fair, hard race, exactly what senior mini moto racing is about.
Yeah, absolutely, a brilliant move there down the inside of the hairpin. Will he be able to keep it round the horseshoe? We have Rhys Gentry now looking to the inside of the penultimate corner. He makes the move, but can Bernie Hook now make a move into the final corner? Not quite. Will he line him up for a better run down the start-finish straight? They both run onto the white line as Bernie Hook opts for the wider line through Blind Billy's. Will he make a move down the inside now as we catch back up with the leaders?
Yeah, Matt Birkin now leads the race. The overtake has happened last lap, and Will Howarth is down 2nd place, and now Josh. And now Will Howarth now dives down the inside, but then runs wide on the exit, which then will leave Matt to then take the race lead once again. Now it's just Will Howarth having to be patient, because if these two keep doing this, it's going to give Josh into place well. And now Will Howarth dives at the inside. Well, Matt having never gone, no he won't, but Josh well down the inside of Matt, making it as they come across the line to make it just 4 laps to go in this race. This race will go quick. I mean, Matt Birkin, he's going to have to keep his cool. He's already down to 3rd, and now Josh Birkins dives down the inside to make it race lead, but can he get past? No, he will not. Will Howarth then gets the undercut, puts his bike there and comes round the chicane, knee flat on the forward with just 4 laps to go.
Yeah, nothing to separate this top 3 as Josh Birkins now lunging down the inside. He gets past Will Howarth, but he does run a little bit deep, but Will Howarth doesn't have an answer for that. Josh Birkin has taken the lead. Will Matt Birkin also have a chance to get into 2nd, to have a fight with his brother, or will Will Howarth send it into the penultimate corner? He will try his best, and Josh Birkin has to check up a bit as Will Howarth goes down the inside into the final corner. What great racing these guys are giving to us.
Yeah, now it's at the point where the back markers are starting to come into play, so now we just have to keep it cool, get past them, not get caught by him. But now Josh Birkin's trying anyway past, and it was like Matt Birkin's trying his way down around the outside actually, but he couldn't make it work as they come through the S's. Will Matt Birkin be able to keep that momentum flowing with just 3 laps to go in this race towards the hairpin? Now, it doesn't look like it, but Matt Birkin's is just trying to fight anyway past the riders on these small bikes, being so difficult to overtake as we see our riders pulled off to the side of track and just enjoying the racing that we have here as Josh Perkins tries to go round the outsides, of course, but it will not work. Will he try to line up an undercut, going into the final corner? No, he cannot, but now Matt is there as well. Matt will try and get a better drive as the rider heads into the pits in the background, but now Josh is leading the race, and now they come round the left kink to go round to the first corner as now Matt has to go on Will Howarth but cannot make it work. Now Josh Perkins leads the way by just 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, no, Matt Perkins had a few squirrely moments, but he is still very much there with them. Will Howarth try and get back through the inside of Josh Birkin into the hairpin here? No, he goes tighter, he takes a tighter line, but no, Josh Birkin keeps the lead. Will Howarth, will he send it again? No, there's just too much going on. I am lost for words.
Yeah, Josh Birkins right now, 2 laps to go in this race. Will Howarth trying anything this way, that way. He cannot find the way past. The riders are so large on these little bikes, on this small track, that there's no way to get past. The battle for the lead is immense as we head on to the final lap of the race, and Josh Birkins leads by just 1/10 of a second. It's Will Howarth right now is in a Birkin sandwich. I do not know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for him. A Birkin butty, but now they're heading into back markers. Will they get past it? Queen Liz heads into the hairpin. They try to get past back markers. Josh needs to try to get past straight away and bridge a rider between the two, but Will Howarth goes down the inside. Josh Birkins runs slightly wide through the horseshoe, going towards the final corner now. There's back markers also in the way. Will Howarth dives down the inside, but will he get caught? How will the back markers affect this? Josh Birkin gets held up, and Matt tries to go around the outside, but falls off, tucks the front as we head down the final straight on the final race of the game. And that's Josh Birkin down on the deck of the final straight, the bike flying through the air, but it's Will Howarth who wins this race. And second place is Matt Birkins after crashing at the final corner. Craig Ashall finishing third as Josh Birkins.
He's running across the line
to finish in 7th place.
Oh, what a race. There was so much going on. Matt Birkin tried his best to try his luck around the outside into the final corner, but completely lost composure and came off the bike. It looked like Josh Birkin would have the lead over Will Howarth, but something happened on the start-finish straight, which we unfortunately missed.
Yeah, that was an insane last lap. I mean, Matt Birkins and Josh both crashed out, but Matt still managed to get a podium position. Will Howarth will be thinking, what has just happened? And all that, Bernie Hook as well has finished in 9th position, which is a great result from 17th place. I mean, great for the rider that is Mr. Minimoto to come back and show everyone how it's done. I mean, Bernie Hook straight on the pace, doing 46s, so great race, full of drama in every single set. It's bike dramas, crashes and course racing.
Yeah, as we see the riders returning to pit lane now. Confirmed grid order, we had Will Howarth from Matt Birkin, from Craig Ashall, who managed to rescue a pretty good result there. Nick Bennett in P4 with Reece Gentry in P5. Chris Yeomans in P6 with Josh Birkin coming P7 after his pretty eventful crash and running across the line. We had P8, we had Callum White, we had Bernie Hook in P9, and Elliot Searle finishing out the top 10.
Yeah, great race, and Reece Gentry getting the 5th place, top 5 once again. And of course, Rob Gentry, FAB-Racing combination, getting the DNF. But what a great race.
Yeah, absolutely.
But once again, it is race 3 for what is the Premier Class here at FAB-Racing. This is the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. It is race 3. It is the show that everyone's been waiting for. This is the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had loads of great action so far this weekend. A great ride for Ethan Sparks in the second race of the weekend. That first race was dominant by Henry McCartney. So we're in for a brilliant race here to finish off the weekend for the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 as they begin the formation lap. So in P1 we have Henry McCartney, followed by Samuel Munson in P2, who did a brilliant job last race defending for his life to come 3rd. Ethan Sparks in P3, followed by Marco Holt in P4. Blake Wilson in 5th with Ronnie Harris in 6th. Noah Guillory in P7, followed by Ollie Simpson 8th. Luke Fitcher in 9th, followed by Ruben Bray in 10th. And we had Harry Payne and Hayden Whiteman in P11 and P12.
Yes, we just wait for these riders to come to the end of the warm-up lap for what is going to be the highlight of the weekend. Conditions are perfect for these riders. These riders are the riders of the future. They're going to be in Talent Cup, Red Bull Rookie, maybe even MotoGP, as this is the road to MotoGP. Just keep an eye on these guys. These guys are talent of the future, including Ronnie Harris, who actually has a British Talent Cup ride at Donington Park. So it just proves this system works, and what we're going to have once again is an amazing race.
So as we wait for the start marshal to point to the red lights, every rider eagerly anticipating the start of this race, what arguably the most important race of the weekend, race 3, as the start marshal is ready to point up to the red light. So here it is, race 3 of the Mini GP70s. The lights are on and the lights are off. That's a brilliant start from Samuel Munson, but Henry McCartney keeps it around the outside. Good start from Ethan Sparks as well. Samuel Munson P1 into turn 1 with Henry McCartney behind him. That's Ethan Sparks all over McCartney as they go into the S's for the first time. Very clean start from all of the riders out on track as they go towards the hairpin on this first lap of the race. That's Marco Holt round the outside into their hairpin. Fantastic move.
Yeah, Noah Gilroy as well, trying his luck and Luke Fitchett, but Ethan Sparks into second place now on his road to Samuel Munson. But Samuel Munson, as we know, in race 2, he can defend, and he can defend good. But Marco Holt trying his luck round the outside of Henry McCartney, and it worked. But now all eyes are going to be on Samuel Munson and Ethan Sparks. Can Samuel Munson do what he did in race 2 and just defend and just defend? But Marco Holt right now in third place. There's a slight gap that he needs to bridge to go to Ethan Sparks. But as soon as Samuel Munson and Ethan Sparks start scrapping, and as we see Ethan Sparks down the outside at the hairpin, made the move stick. What will Samuel Munson do? Can he respond, or is this the door opening for Marco Holt?
Yes, Henry McCarthy had a look at Marco Holt as well, but don't count out Blake Wilson, who's also all over the back of Henry McCartney. Sorry, Ronnie Harris did not get the start he would have wanted to have in that machine at the back of your picture now as they come through the start-finish straight round Blind Billy's towards turn 1. That's Ronnie Harris making a move down into turn 1, sent it down the inside. Brilliant move.
Yeah, it was a brilliant move, a brilliant lap from Ethan Sparks, a 38.457 fastest lap of the race as Marco Holt goes round the outside at the hairpin from Simon Munson. Will he get the undercut, get a tighter and later apex? He cannot make it work. They're going into the horseshoe, all over the back of him, and so is Henry McCartney, and so is Blake Wilson, and so is Ronnie Harris, and even Ollie Sims. There's such a big group of riders right now. 10 laps going this race. We're going to see an excellent race, and that's exactly what we expect from the Mini GP70 is as Marco Holt can see Ethan Sparks going up the road as he's already got a 2-second gap.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to separate these 5 riders coming into the S's now. Can Marco Holt line up a move on Samuel Munson down the back straight? Is he going to lunge one to the inside of the hairpin? He is. He's had a good enough run. Brilliant move from Marco Holt. Can he hunt down Ethan Sparks now? We shall wait and see as Samuel Munson's already going defensive on McCartney now.
Yeah, Henry McCartney trying everything to get past Samuel Munson, but it's 9 laps going this race. It's a pretty long race for these guys, especially in these conditions. It's so hot now here at Clay Pigeon, Dorset South Coast, and we wait and see what's going to happen. What line will Samuel Munson take? Samuel Munson actually looks like he wants to get past Marco Holt, and he does at the S's. Whilst Marco Holt get a better drive out the S, he did set him up, but Samuel Munson did also run wide. So now Henry McCartney, this is his time to come into play. What will Samuel Munson do? He has this little moment, sits on the bike a bit early, coming out of the hairpin, but now into the horseshoe. Mark Holt all over the back of him, heading round to the final corner. Now Mark Holt taking a far wider line into there, carrying more corner speed on the throttle. Will he get the throttle a bit earlier? Into the slipstream, onto the front straight to make it just 7 laps to go as Samuel Munson takes a far, far tighter line.
Yeah, no, absolutely phenomenal riders. That's Ronnie Harris in the background making a move on McCartney. He's got a little bit deep, but McCartney has no room on the inside to get that position back. Fantastic move from Ronnie Harris as we also watch Marco Holt with another run on Samuel Munson. He's going to launch it into the hairpin again. Great move from Marco Holt. Fantastically clean from all of these riders out there. Great riding from Samuel Munson. He's been defending his best all race, but Marco Holt just found the gap on the inside of the hairpin. Can Ronnie Harris now mount a charge?
Yeah, Marco Holt right now still in third place. This is the battle for the final position, and the final 2 positions actually on the podium. Marco Holt in second place now, and really, Ethan Sparks, this is helping him. 4.3 seconds up the road, and Ethan Sparks, the more they battle, the further up the road he's going to get. So right now, Ethan Sparks, the only person that looks to be able to defeat him is himself, but this is racing. Anything can happen as Mark Holt goes into the hairpin, does a little doctor's dangle, slow himself down slightly quicker and create a wider space so no one can dive up his inside. But Samuel Munson looks so aggressive, looks so good. But here's Ronnie Harris, of course, got a wild card in the British Title Cup coming up. Watch out for this Fab rider, he's a great rider. And now we're going round the start-finish line for what's just 5 laps, because Ronnie Harris looks to make another move on Samuel Munson but cannot make it work.
Yeah, no, Ronnie Harris seems to be phenomenally confident into turn 1. Round Blind Billy's has been launching it on every rider so far as they go towards the hairpin now. Marco Holt going through your shot. Can Ronnie Harris prepare a move on Samuel Munson? And Samuel Munson looks to have a bit of a moment on the exit, the hairpin there, as they go through the horseshoe now, through the penultimate corner. Can Ronnie Harris launch a move into turn 1 the next time round as we go on to the next lap of the race as they come round the Blind Billies now? Can Ronnie Harris launch it on Samuel Munson?
Yeah, Ethan Sparks as well, 4.7 seconds now, but can Ronnie Harris do anything on Samuel Munson? Because Marco Holt now is starting to get away, but there is your race leader. He looks so clean, and he has such a big gap, 4.7 seconds and a 37.839 is his best lap, the best lap of the race. Everyone else is just sitting in the 38s, so everyone else's best lap is in the 38s. Ethan Sparks is in his own lane, but I believe Samuel Munson actually may have made a slight mistake as we wait to see what's happened. But yeah, Samuel Munson, Ronnie Harris has got past him, and now Henry McCartney is on Samuel Munson's tail heading into turn 1. Can Henry McCartney do anything? Looks, but he cannot make it work, and now Ronnie Harris is trying to go with Marco Holt.
Yeah, no, this allows Ronnie Harris to have a look at Marco Holt as they 3 laps to go of this motor race down towards the hairpin now. No way through for Ronnie Harris at the moment, but we know how confident he is through turn 1. Will he set up a move on Marco Holt, or will Marco Holt be able to defend that P2 till the end of the race? Ethan Sparks should be crossing the line in a second with to have 2 laps to go of this mini GP70 LS2 helmets race. That is Ronnie Harris on the back of Marco Holt now, going through Blind Billies. Can he make a move into turn 1? Yes, he has a look. No way through.
Yeah, Samuel Munson still defending from Henry McCartney right now, and Blake Wilson is sitting there lurking and waiting for Henry McCartney, maybe just to run them both wide and start tripping them up and then dive down the inside, and then that allows him to get that final 4th place position. And it looks like right now though, the battle for the final podium position is not done yet. It looks like Ronnie Harris wants 1 step up on the podium, wants that 2nd place from Marco Holt, as Henry McCartney still tries and desperately tries to get past Samuel Munson, but Samuel Munson has left the door open at the left kick, and now it was like down the inside. Henry McCartney is through, and there's the leader once again on the final lap of the race, a 5.629 second race lead on the last lap. It is so impressive what this young man's doing. Last year's champion, and now has over a 5-second lead from Mark Holt, who is no slouch, who is currently battling with Ronnie Harris. And now we see battles all across the field. I believe that Samuel Munson get past now by Blake Wilson, but there's your leader, and there's the race winner for race 3 of the LS2 helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. He wins by 4.4 seconds, celebrating over the line. Will we see a wheelie? Yes, we will, and there's confirmation of the podium. Ethan Sparks wins over Marco Holt, and Ronnie Harris rounds out the podium.
Yeah, another assured ride from Ethan Sparks there. We had Ethan Sparks from Marco Holt. We have Ethan Sparks showboating again up on 1 foot. But we had Ethan Sparks from Marco Holt, from Ronnie Harris filling out the podium. We had Henry McCartney in P4 with Blake Wilson in P5. Samuel Munson falls back to 6th after a difficult race for Samuel Munson. Luke Fitcher in P7 with Ruben Bray in P8. Ollie Sims in P9 with Noah Guillory in P10 and Harry Payne in P11. What a ride that was from Ethan Sparks.
Yeah, it certainly was, and what a great race for you. Of course, the last time these boys are out this weekend, and I think you can agree, Dylan, it was a great race, and there's confirmation of that race win and of that top 10 with Ethan Sparks win from Marco Holt and Ronnie Harris getting 3rd place, with Henry McCartney 4th, Blake Wilson 5th, Samuel Munson 6th, Luke Fitch at 7th, Ruben Bray 8th, Ollie Sims 9th, and Noah Guillory rounding out the top 10. But from a race 3. It's exactly what we expected. I think you can agree, Dylan, it was a great race.
Yeah, another phenomenal battle in the middle of the pack. Something that we've seen time and time again in this LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 series. But what a fantastic weekend we had.
Yes, certainly, and what fantastic weather we have right now. But that was the Premier class. That was the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. And now we have the final race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140s and the final race of the weekend altogether in what has been a mix of weather conditions, a mix of racing, a mix of classes and a mix of abilities here at FAB. And well, it's been a great weekend, and hopefully the Pit Bike 140s will do one better and top it all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've had a phenomenal weekend of racing here at Clay Pigeon Raceway in FAB as the Pit Bike 140s go out for their last formation lap and the last formation lap of the weekend.
Yeah, so here we go with the grids. Rossi Bam starts on pole position with Ryan Tyres alongside him. Lucas Brown in third place with Ryan Hitchcock fourth. Reese Peacock in fifth place with Stuart Hardman in sixth. Taylor Lawrence seventh. Sean Whittaker eighth. Nathan Riggy ninth. Bobby King 10th. Liam Wood 11th. Cameron Corfield 12th with Simon Gates 13th. Aston Bollard 14th, Matthew Lindley 15th, Max Perry 16th, Leo Corfield 17th, Chadley Whiten 18th, and Thomas Dudson 19th, and Zach Tureen rounding out the top 20 and the last grid of the weekend for the last race of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, as the lads come round the final corner to stop in their grid slots for one last time here at Clay Pigeon. We've had a phenomenal weekend of racing so far. This race should be topping it off with the amazing Pit Bike 140 Championship. You can see that bright green overalls of Taylor Lawrence there in the background, calls himself Shrek with those overalls on as we wait for the start marshal to point to the red lights to begin this Pit Bike 140 race.
Yeah, we wait for Lee Clowes just to get the race started, point to the lights. All riders will then look towards the lights as we see Rob Keys getting off the grid. We point to the lights, we look towards the lights, the lights go on. And the lights go on for the final race of the weekend. I believe it was Lucas Brown that got a bit too eager on the start, but it's Ryan Hitchcock who leads the way from Rossi Banham at the start of this race. Lucas Brown in fourth place right now though, with Taylor Lawrence in sixth place. But what a good start and what a close race we're going to get. I mean, Rossi Banham already diving down the inside of Ryan Hitchcock straight away, and Taylor Lawrence have a slight gap from Lucas Brown in front.
Yeah, not the start that Lucas Brown would have wanted at all. Jumping the start, we're going to have to see if we can get any confirmation on that. But yeah, great move from Ryan Hitchcock into the lead of this race. Does Rossi Banham Rossi Banham is currently in the lead of this race, taking the race by the horns. Will anyone be able to challenge him? Ryan Hitchcock in the background there, looking on the inside through the first corner. Into the turn one they go now, through round to the S's for the second time this race.
Yeah, Ryan Tyres though, he's looking good and he's looking like he's fresh. Although he had that big high side yesterday, coming out of the horseshoe, he's ready, and he's ready for that first place. He wants that win. He's on the back of Rossi Banham, completely different conditions from yesterday, but once again Rossi Banham and Ryan Tyres out front with 11 laps to go in the final race of the weekend, with Ryan Hitchcock just behind.
Yeah, but don't count any of these riders out, Lewis. Remember the race we had earlier on today with a 5-bike battle for the lead. So will Rossi Banham be able to run away with this, or is Ryan Tyres going to give him a run for his money as they come through the S's for the third time this race, going towards the hairpin now? Will he mount a charge down the inside? No, he won't. Rossi Banham retains the lead from Ryan Tyres.
Yeah, I believe this race there even is a possibility of a 6-bike race. Well, first place battle. I mean, Reese Peacock in sixth place is no stranger for battling for a race one, but 10 laps to go in this race. Rossi Banham has the fastest lap with a 39.588. Ryan Tyres has a little look over his shoulder, sees that Lucas Brown is still there, and Ryan Hitchcock is still in fourth place. So right now it looks like Ryan Hitchcock may get overtaken by Taylor Lawrence. He shuts the door on him though. Taylor Lawrence looking for any way past. He's got such an extreme ride style as he dives down the inside at the S's, and hopefully he's going to have the run for the hairpin, start to bridge that gap to Ryan Hitchcock and Lucas Brown in front.
Yeah, Ryan Hitchcock seems to have dropped off the pace substantially. Is there the possibility that he could have a problem? Obviously fighting for the lead of this race at the start, and has fallen back big time. Can Taylor Lawrence mount a charge, and can Ryan Tyres take the lead?
Yeah, Rossi Bam still leads the way, crossing the timeline now. 8 laps to go in this race, 3/10 of a second separating Rossi Bam and Ryan Tyres, but Taylor Lawrence is still got past Ryan Hitchcock, so now it's a real test to see what Ryan Hitchcock has, if he has the pace to run with them. If not, he'll drop back into Reece Peacock's hands, and when you're there, it's so hard to beat Reece Peacock. I mean, Reece Peacock is so aggressive, just like everyone else. You can just see Taylor Lawrence's extreme riding style. I mean, it always impressed me with this pit bike, just how low they get.
As Lucas Brown also seems closer to Ryan Tyres now than Tyres is to Rossi Banham. Can Rossi Banham run away with this race with 8 laps to go? We shall soon see as we watch these riders come round the final corner now. 7 laps to go of this race. Anything could happen here.
Yeah, Rossi Banham now leads by 4/10 of a second. But then Lucas Brown's another further 8/10 back. The conditions are so warm. But Harvey Claridge started at the back of the grid, and now he's 14th position right now on the number 6 bike. So right now, Harvey Claridge, GP2 rider in the British Championship. I believe he's even leading the championship. He's had all conditions in one weekend, similar to what he had at his last round of British Superbikes at Knockhill. It was all seasons in one weekend for him, and now he's showing off his skills in the burning hot conditions, coming from the back of the grid in 21st position.
Yeah, no, Harvey Claridge really displaying his pace here, cutting through the field like a knife at the moment, as he's all over the back of Bobby King as they exit the final corner. He's going to try and make a move around the outside as they go around the start-finish straight. You look at the confidence that man has on that pit bike as he takes 10th place.
Yeah, great ride so far from Harvey Claridge. He's on a 2-stroke motor, so in the wet conditions, he may have it was very, very tricky for him. You've seen his slide off earlier in race 2. He just hit the power band at the wrong time and down he went. He said before the weekend he was actually scared to race here at FAB on these pit bikes. And one person certainly is not scared is Rossi Banham as he leads the way. But Ryan Tyres sets the fastest lap of the race with 39.1, 1/10 faster than Rossi Banham that time round, and just a 2/10 of a second gap with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Ryan Tyres means business here. What he can't do is get complacent and make a mistake like we saw yesterday at the end of race 1. Can Ryan Tyres find a way past Rossi Banham as they come through the horseshoe now? 5 laps to go as they go towards the penultimate corner of this lap. Can Ryan Tyres set up a move as they go into the final corner now? Very, very close to the rear of Rossi Banham. Can he get a better exit as they go onto the start-finish straight? He throws his hand into the air as he tries to take the wider line through turn 1, try and get a run and go down the inside into turn 1. No, can't quite make the move.
Yeah, Rossi Banham was looking to the left actually on the straight there, maybe looking at someone on the pit wall telling him the gap or someone that is, or maybe just showboat, and then there he is right now looking behind, seeing Ryan Tyres, that will really motivate him, get him just a push as hard as he can with just 4 laps to go. Time is ticking down, but now is the point where we start getting to bad markers.
Yeah, Ryan Tyres knows that this is the time when it's going to get a little bit more hectic for him, because Rossi Banham could quite easily be held up behind one of these riders, and we have seen this all throughout today in other categories as they are all waving to the pit wall as they ride past into turn 1. Rossi Banham has opened up the gap substantially.
Yeah, Rossi Banham now just looks like he's playing about, to be honest, and Lucas Brown is currently in a battle with getting past back markers with Taylor Lawrence. With that battle of Taylor Lawrence just slightly widening, so now Rossi Banham also widening the gap of Ryan Tyres. But can Ryan Tyres respond? The thing is, right now you cannot push too hard. It's such a tight and technical circuit that if you run a millimetre off line, that is the difference between a 10th at this racetrack. It's Lucas Brown, another Talent Cup rider, very, very successful rider in his career so far. Came back to FAB, he's on the curb right now, he's using all the track, using all the space, showing off his skill, coming around the left kick with just 2 laps to go. Yeah,
Ryan Hitchcock also losing out to Reece Peacock, suggesting that he does perhaps have a problem. He's only gone backwards after lap 1 here as we watch Lucas Brown come through the S's. Taylor Lawrence seems to have gained a handful of time on Lucas Brown due to the back markers that they had to manoeuvre around. Can Taylor Lawrence mount a charge in the couple final laps of this race?
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. Rossi Banham leads the way by half a second now, so great gap from his Lucas Brown defends off Taylor Lawrence. Taylor Lawrence in that bright green levers, lime green levers. That's all what Lucas Brown runs extremely wide, but now Ryan Tyres on the final lap is now on Rossi Banham's back wheel. Last lap, Ryan Tyres set a 38.9, fastest lap of the race. And now Rossi Banham, what is he going to be able to do? Will he be able to keep Tyre behind his rear tyre? So now, last lap time, last half a lap in fact, and now it's time for Rossi Banham, who owns the lap record here, or should I say, dead on the lap record, as Ryan Tyres has broken the lap record last time round. Now Rossi Banham though will not care, as he's won the race. He's won the final race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140s, and the final race of the weekend in general. Rossi Banham will be absolutely delighted. Hats off to Ryan Tyres. Ryan Tyres does the same back, but it's not all decided yet, as Lucas Brown comes home in third. Positions changing all the way downfield. Jack Andrews on your screen coming across the line and getting a very commendable result. But Rossi Banham taking the race win. Thumbs up to the camera, absolutely delighted. Although he no longer holds the lap record, which did get shattered by Ryan Tyres by 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, no, absolutely a dominant weekend for Rossi Banham. How many times have we seen these wheelies so far over the course of the weekend? What a fantastic ride from Rossi Banham. Another great ride for Ryan Tyres. Coming back from his incident yesterday, he obviously didn't take part in race 2. I think he had injuries.
Yeah, Ryan Tyres didn't take part in race 2 for whatever reason, but wow, what a fantastic race that was. The final race of the weekend, as we see the riders coming into the holding area, having a conversation about that. Ryan Tyres and Rossi Banham saying, did you see that move? Did you see that overtake? Did you see what I did there? Did you see me looking behind you? I'm looking at the pit wall, whenever I should be looking where I'm going. But wow, what great riding, great sportsmanship from all the riders.
Yeah, fantastic. So as we go down the grid order, we had Rossi Banham from Ryan Tyres, from Lucas Brown in third, Taylor Lawrence in fourth, not finding a way through onto the podium, Reese Peacock in fifth with Ryan Hitchcock in sixth, Simon Gates in P7 with Leo Cornfield in P8, with Liam Wood in P9, and Nathan Riggy filling out the top 10.
Yes, a great race there. Rossi Banham once again showing off his performance. 3/10 for the second win. Going on to that last lap, it looks like Ryan Tyres may have tried to, may have been able to pep him for the race win, but he could not find anything in the final race of the weekend. And that will be it for round 4, the halfway marker of the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship here at Clay Pigeon. My name has been Lewis Ray, and for his debut in the commentary box, it has been Dylan Goodrick. Dylan, how have you enjoyed your first weekend in the commentary box?
It has been phenomenal, and it has helped that we've had some fantastic racing out here at Clay Pigeon this weekend. We had the weather coming into effect. We generally just had great wheel-to-wheel action, which is fantastic to commentate on, you know. So thoroughly enjoyed this experience. Great start to, hopefully, a career.
And after what you've seen this weekend, what has been your favourite class to commentate on and watch?
I really couldn't say. Like, there have been some races from each class which have been phenomenal. The mini F1 sidecars were fantastic, especially on Saturday. We had obviously the LS2 Helmers Mini GP70, which always provide great racing, but we also have the Mini GP50 and we have the Minimoto. So great racing all across the board. I couldn't pick a favourite.
That is fair enough, and thank you all for joining us, and thank you to all the riders for the great racing they put on and the great show they put on, and thank you to all the medics and all the marshals around the circuit and everyone who makes this event possible. So thanks so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time at Wilton Mill for round 5.